I'm all about it. This is fantastic. Like it's ooh ah no, it's good. It's good. I'm glad you had a good dinner though. Like that's
Yeah,
it's so huge to have the good dinner.
yeah, definitely. You gotta get the mozzarella, the prosciutto in there. You gotta, like you gotta do the whole thing. I did a salmon main course it was good. I think it was an orzo salad under it, so it
Oh,
was
that sounds amazing. That's
yeah.
like so big. How many people did you have over like all together?
So I had cousins from the other side of the country. They're from. It's funny. I've never actually like met them before, but they were from Seattle, Washington. A
Oh.
really awesome part of my family, and like they're close with other parts of the family. But it's been decades since I even had the opportunity to. And so anyway, but it was cool because even though their kids are like 18, it was cool for my kids to see like older cousins and play with them and stuff like that. So yeah, it was good.
Cool. That sounds like a good time. Kind of reminds me of my family parties. Like like whenever we have relatives over, same idea. Dozens about a dozen people
Yeah,
there.
got to get the good Italian dinner going and get all the people around, get some wine going.
Mm,
It was good. So
that's where it's at.
uh, can't complain.
Yeah. Too bad for the Knicks though. Like they really get let it get away. I guess what can you really do though? I mean, the Sixers were just like shooting everything. Like they were making all the threes.
How far is it in your game? I still have 3 minutes left in mine.
Yeah, there's still 3 minutes. It's not over yet,
Okay.
but
It's not over. I was gonna say, like, you were like writing them off. I was like,
it's
only
true
one
because
fifteen to 107. I think
it's not that.
it just the way the Knicks stormed back in that last game, though, like hitting those two clutch
Hmm.
threes, and that was wild ending
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And as the Knicks and the Sixers can give up leads like this with 3 minutes left, so it's not. You're right. It's not over yet. Um,
Yeah,
Really
for
great
sure.
setup though. All the way around. And Charlie, the God, it's great to see you. It's nice. Senor Sandwich says hello to you. Hello there, Charlie.
Yeah,
Nice to see you
well,
again. Um, yeah, really looking forward. I didn't. I forgot to. I should have asked this before we started stream, but like, how long would you want to? How long are you good to go for tonight? Because I want to respect.
I mean, I still have to clean my house before I go to sleep, but
Okay.
I'll give you like 2 hours. So
Okay.
it's all about
2 hours.
midnight
I'm
time.
good.
So somewhere in that range.
I'm in for
So
it.
yeah,
Cool.
or maybe we do like 90 minutes. I do cleaning for 10, come back and finish it. Might go longer. We'll see how much energy I
Yeah, we
got.
can see how it
So
goes. I
yeah,
mean, if you're getting, if all, if you're starting to feel kind of drowsy towards the end, that's understandable too. So we'll
yeah,
play it
yeah, yeah.
out.
No, I think I get a lot of energy doing these sorts of shows. So
Okay.
I'm sure I'll be good for until midnight, and
Okay.
then I'm usually up for like an hour after my own show anyway. So cleaning won't be that big of a deal.
Cool.
So
Cool. Very good. All right. So let's go ahead and start this up. By now, if people are still filing into the chat, that's all. It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
exciting, well and good. I don't. Let's do the
I
thing.
figure it might be a late arriving crowd just because of there's so many things going on tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And not only that, like I'm on an event, and usually I'm not on this night.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
for a lot of reasons actually, but we everything's kind of just we're on the place tonight. So, let's start. Let's start. Here we go. And Robbie, if it's well, we'll get into this once I introduce you. But um, all this to say, I'm hoping we can do sandwich of the week early tonight because I'm like
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. For sure.
I'm there. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. I know a lot of people are still finding us, but that's okay. I'm Davey. Hello there. This is the Sandwich Show. Very, very close to our 3-year stream anniversary. That's about a week from now. Friday, May the 3rd. It's actually the 4th, but I want to do it on Friday so we can get more people to join in for interviews. So if you want to be part of that, just be right back here Friday next week. And we shall be really doing a lot of fun things. Not only the interviews, but I got little secret surprises for each hour. It should be really fun. But tonight, our subject to hand sandwich Q&A, and our interview guest of the evening, a returning guest, someone we've had on numerous times before. I think according to Robbie, this is your 4th interview on the program. So let's say
One
hi to
time. Yeah, yeah. It's
nice
pretty wild. Yeah.
Robbie.
One
Well,
was one was kind of a Taco Bell special, if you will,
oh,
that I
that's right.
came and helped you host. I don't know if that's considered a full sandwich interview. It was kind of a variety, but I'll count it because we got into it. So, but yeah, no, it's been super fun. I was thinking about it, like almost every year in
Hey, champ.
September. I'm on the show, and yeah, it's cool. And we've started to get one of these springtime ones as well. I know we did one last April, I think. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Always happy to be here.
Well, it's always good to have you here, Robbie. I mean, it's exciting to hear all the facets of your life, and there are many. Like, actually, it's kind of interesting all the cool things you do. So, Champ, nice to see you again too. Hello, DC People's Champ, our good friend. Champ is always so much fun on your program, and he's also the host of the No Spots podcast, which is available over on. Oh yeah. Just as I was saying that, so No Spots Pod. Is that the handle?
Yeah, True No Spots Pod.
True No Spots. Okay. True No Spots. So this one, follow this one. Okay. Let me try that again. Podcast or pod? It's just pod.
Spots.
Oh no! Looks like Streamlabs broke again.
Yeah. Hold on, let me see if I can do it.
There you go. You got it. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So that link. That's the link, everybody. And Aya Kane, what's going on, Io? Welcome in, Aya Kane. I got you muted because I'm on the phone, but I wanted to pop and say hi. Well, hello, Io. I mean, Io can't see this, but I'll just say hello.
We'll wave. But yeah, Champ does a good job with the True No Spots Pod, and on my show, and yeah, it's a great place if you want to check out some wrestling stuff. And now I think it might be over in the Philly Knicks game. I don't know, that was a big bucket right there.
Yeah.
To put it up 119 to 107, at least on my view.
We also had 2 1-goal games in hockey. We have a final in Long Island. The Hurricanes just fight off the Islanders 3-2. It was kind of stuck at 3-2 for a while though. Like yeah, Islanders got the goal to cut it to 1, but they never got any further than that. And now our friend E-Flat's Hurricanes really have the clamps on this one, don't they?
Yeah, he's editing tonight and not watching them, which I was like, "What?" I was blown away when I asked him that earlier. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be doing video editing tonight. I was like, "Who are you? It's a playoff game. What?" I mean, it's like, but good for you. I hope that he says if he finishes early tonight, he would stop by.
Okay.
So hopefully he'll be very productive, and maybe he'll stop by later. But yeah, I have to give a big shout out to Dmitry Skorolov. I should have worn my Skorolov shirt. He got a goal in today's game, and of course I'm rooting for Carolina for Ryan, that E-Flat guy. Also, I hate all New York teams, so it's pretty easy for me. And
except the Knicks.
except for the Knicks. Well, it's funny because the Knicks don't play, I guess, in the same division like as all the other ones. So that's always like a different. Like almost all the other New York teams play in the division against Washington, but in basketball they don't. Like we're in the Southeast, so it's a very different situation there, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, but I do generally root against New York teams. I don't really have anything against like the Jets per se, but I don't, obviously the Giants being a rival of the Commanders, and the Rangers and the Islanders are always play the capital stuff. So
well, all it's well said. And just a reminder, follow our friend Ayakane Powda. I'm hopeful we'll have another karaoke stream pretty soon. I'm not sure. I even was thinking about doing one on Thursday next week, but I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about it. Just not, I should probably have that figured out in like a day or so. But anyway, we'll let you know. But
are you thinking about a themed karaoke or just a general one?
I mean, we always try to do a theme, but if we're gonna do one next week, it's not. I mean, would milestones be a good enough topic for a karaoke stream?
Huh. I wonder how people would reference that. I think that maybe people could pick things that are related to episodes that you've done on the show. So like themes like previous themes that you've done, like all of the other karaoke ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. A best of karaoke.
Yeah.
Previous.
Hey, Primo, what's going on? Nice to see you, Primordial Sounds. It's always nice to see your people coming through. But he's our people too.
Andy.
Andy.
Yeah, I did definitely message Andy and Carly right before I came on air,
Cool.
let them know. I know that Carly's probably in bed,
Yeah.
knowing her, but Andy, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate
I
it.
love it. I love it. We got to get redeemed, get something from the room. Not in the, I'm not
Sniper's here.
terribly agile. Oh, hey, Sniper. Welcome in, Sniper. Good to see you. Tonight, what are we getting tonight for Charlie the Goddess? Let me think. Um, I don't think Charlie's seen this yet. So let me go. Let me just sneak this out for Charlie. So this is the gamepad controller I use when I do SNES emulation, and also
Nice.
it works for Genesis too. Like Genesis, you just have to reroute the buttons. Like it totally works.
Yeah,
For,
yeah. Awesome.
totally works for Genesis. So there you go. Thank you very much, Charlie. Um,
I
Primo.
love retro gaming. I wish I had more time to play it on my Switch. I do love the that you have all the old systems on the Switch. You know, it's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. It's very
Including
authentic.
Genesis, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Which
Hey,
you, it's something like as a kid, I could never imagine that a Nintendo system would have Genesis on it. You know, like it was like
well, things
it's
have changed. Yeah, I mean they've kind of worked out a deal there. I've kind of blown away by it too. Like I remember playing Smash, and you see Sonic, and they're like, "What? Like what? What
I
is?"
love the Mario and Sonic go to the Olympic Games, like that
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
collaborative, which I have not seen them release the information about this year's yet. And they've made one for every Olympics that has come out. So I always just assumed they were going to do one for this one, but I haven't seen it yet. But I've always loved them. Those are some of my son's favorite video games.
Oh,
So
that's so cool. Yeah. Alistair, welcome in. Can we give a shout out to Alistair UK, a fellow variety streamer? I love it. You know. Um, do you do you have any like, okay, let's get to this after we do start sandwich of the week. Sniper says Pong. I love it. It's good to see you, Sniper. All right, folks. I see we have a good crowd here, so it is time once again for our signature moment on the Sandwich Show, and of course that we call it the. Oosh, that is loud. Oh my gosh, sandwich of the week. And for sandwich of the week this week, we are going to go with what I have been trying to fulfill for a long time. So we've been talking about pizza chicken for about a month. It's because we had the ads for KFC's like Chizza, which were kind of ridiculous. So I decided, let me just make a chicken parm sandwich and add some pepperoni. And I've done it. And it's a small one, but it's on a ciabatta roll. Oh,
looks so good.
oh, yeah. I know you had Italian food tonight too, so I just it's
Yeah,
serendipitous. We
it is.
do
It's
this thing.
beautiful.
Let me take the top off, and you'll see just this full. Oh no, this won't work. I thought it was kind of peeled off. That's okay. But yeah, it's got pepperoni on it. And let me just make this was good. This is good. There we go. This gives you a better idea what the fillet looks like. It's fresh. I got it from the meat department at my store. I'm like, they make fresh ones. I'm like, that's really good. I'm like so excited about that.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Sniper. Yeah, I'm really excited. I took photos, so I'll put them on Discord later. So there it is, sandwich of the week.
Right. Yeah, so I was telling Davey earlier that I had prosciutto and mozzarella with some tomato, and then I also had salmon with orzo, um, and yeah, it was great. So I can't complain.
That's pretty
Got
cool.
going with Italian food is always a solid pick. So
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So I'll enjoy this while we keep talking. So my question to you, Robbie, since you mod so many people on Twitch, and I mean, and that's exciting. I mean, that's pretty awesome that you can keep up with so many people on Twitch. But, um, what's your familiarity with stream teams? Like, are any of your
with
mods or any of your streamers on stream teams?
Yeah, I am on one myself,
Oh, nice.
the web creative community. And so it's a bunch of people that are mostly like photographers and digital artists that wanted to create a community because most of the other communities are usually around music based or video games or other things, and they didn't feel like there was one just for people who wanted to do like photography and videography. And I do a lot of that work. I don't do a lot of it on stream, and I did tell them that, but I also do mod for art streamers, and so I do spend a lot of time with that, like StreamScribe and things like that. I actually got to meet Carlo in person last weekend, which was for the first time, which was
Oh yeah,
um
yeah.
pretty cool.
That's great.
Unfortunately, I had the flu, so I couldn't go and see Human Juke
Oh, really?
live.
Oh.
But with the whole group. But I really wanted to do that. It was cool that Calvin and Tina French and a lot of other cool people there. And I know I'll do it. We're gonna try to do this every year. So I know I'll have another opportunity out of it. But yeah, it was really cool that Scribe on his way back out of here towards New York stopped by. Actually, I won something kind of cool. Um, and in one of his giveaways, which I've had a crazy run lately and won so
Ooh.
many, that this is a cool Twitch sign. And so my
Ooh.
3-year affiliate anniversary is coming up, and I'm gonna install this behind me, I think, and see. Um, so see if that works. And um, yeah,
Excellent.
actually, I'm curious if it works off of this router.
I mean, it's just USB power, so you can work off anything really.
Yeah, should
Should be.
work on this.
Once you turn it on, I should be all right.
Yeah,
There you go.
well, there
Oh,
it
look
is.
at that, folks. Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
You don't need a ring light anymore. You can no, but then you can't see it if you do it that way. But
Yeah, no, it's gonna be like behind
that's pretty
something up
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
so we'll see.
Champ says Robbie mods me as well. That's correct. I've seen you mod the True No Spots podcast, which is
Yeah, yeah.
engaging stuff.
It is.
So congrats
Good
on
job.
3 years as well. That's really cool.
There you go. I'll leave it right there. Why
Very
not?
nice. But yeah, I mean, kudos to making a stream team. I do want to go do a quick update on the sandwich. So
Oh yeah.
this is the
Oh,
inside of it.
look at that.
Look at how good this is a chunky.
Oh wow. Oh,
Yeah,
I love a good chunky chicken sandwich.
that was
That ciabatta looks nice too.
yeah, big time props to the because this came from a local bakery, the ciabatta. That's they sell it at the store, and yeah, I'm really a big fan of it. I'm glad I picked it because like I didn't want to just get like a regular old like I don't know or wheat or Arnold. What do they call it in your area? Because like they call it different names in different parts of the country. But
Oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would just call that a chicken sandwich. I don't know if we have a specific name that we
oh, I
call it
meant
here.
just like the bread though, like like the bread
Oh, we
company.
usually call it like ciabatta bread, I think. So,
Oh, well, well definitely ciabatta bread. Okay. Oh, this
but
is a
I don't
local.
know the specific sub genre of ciabatta. No. Um, but
Yeah, no, ciabatta from a local bakery is where it's at for sure. This is pretty
yeah,
good.
for sure. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm super lucky about in the DC area. We have so many different types of food, and you never know what you're gonna get. Which I always love.
Hmm
I
King's like
feel very lucky. It was
King.
funny because I was talking to somebody who was living in another part of Maryland. They're like, "Oh, I know Moco so well. Rockville Pike is so much good food. Whenever they want to go eat, they come over to my neck of the woods." So I'm really lucky in that way. We have this huge corridor that has basically every restaurant you could ever imagine. So,
Here's an interesting query: do you have a Capital Grill in your area?
um, we do have. I mean, not very close to this house, but
Mhm.
there are a couple in the area. Definitely some in DC, and
It's fitting for
yeah.
DC. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have so many different. I mean, I think the big one Scribes really loves, and he was talking about is Founding Farmers, which is a kind of a chain in the DC area, but also in Virginia and Maryland, and it's all like natural foods, but like they do stuff for different holidays. It's just all like natural farm raised and really good. Like, but they had, like potato latkes that were like out of this world. When it was Hanukkah a couple months ago, and it's just like I don't know. They just do like so many different things so well. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like you can't go wrong.
Oh, that's so cool. Like Champ says, my girlfriend works for farmers. That's super cool.
Oh wow, that's awesome! I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know, and you know those restaurants very well because I remember the first time I had you here. What was that? July 2021. Wow, it's a while ago. But you told me about the sandwich, the French toast sandwich, which
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah, there's a lot of yeah, I'm very lucky. There's so many great diners and so many great like brunch is such a big thing in the DC area.
Hmm
Like, there's so many great places to do brunch. I highly recommend. Like you could visit DC and not be able to eat your way through it. It's just too many options. Like it's just like my favorite thing right now is like Afghani food, which is
Ooh.
like totally just like different, but like
Hmm?
holy moly, there's a place that's just out of this world in DC. It's it's so good. I love that like family style, and you can just try like a bunch of different stuff, and it's just sauces and just spices, and it's a lot like Indian food. Just it's so good.
That makes sense. Yeah, for sure. Lakers game's about to tip off.
Yeah.
Honestly, how honest do you want me to be about this? Like, I don't
It's such
really.
an interesting team. Like both games, I thought that they LA played
They were
pretty
in both
well
games.
to
It was close.
start.
It was close, but
Yeah, in the first quarter they were leading in both games, and in
yeah.
the second game was real close at the very end. Like they put up a valiant effort, I thought.
Well, I mean, they blew that game. Like they were ahead for 43 minutes of the game, and they lost in a buzzer beater. It's like you
I know,
can't.
but you know that they're playing up at atmosphere. Like I'm curious to see what happens now that you guys are playing here.
Yeah,
Like
we'll see. It's
I
just,
definitely think there's an advantage.
I mean, it sets up very well for them. Like without putting like context into it, this is a good setup for the Lakers. They're at home.
Yeah,
They were in both of the games. Like logically, it makes sense for them to win tonight. They're up 2-0, but
yeah,
I don't know. There's
for
just a
sure.
bad juju with this team. I just don't see the chemistry. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't see
No,
it.
no, I feel that. I mean, if Austin Reeves is like your savior on your team, like I don't know, you can't be like expecting championships in my mind. But I mean, I like Darvin. I rooted for him when he was player in the NBA. I like a lot of you know they're a likable team. I watched them a lot throughout the season, but I don't know. I just feel like. They did much better over the second half of the season. I thought they started to gel as a team and play more team game, and D'Angelo was pretty awesome.
It's fair. It's fair. It's just I don't know. I feel like they need. Well, obviously there are two things that are wrong that have continuously been problematic with this team in the last like 3 or so seasons. The 3-point shooting has always been bad, like the entire time. Like that's just there's always the
unless
bottom of the league.
D'Angelo's on, and he's. I mean, he had a pretty legendary season.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair too. Like he did really step it up this year. We talked about Reeves, like he's been pretty good too. But the bench is not great. Like outside of them, like it's like can
Well, it's
LeBron?
weird. They're not even bench players on this team, right? They would be probably on most other teams, but
Yeah, yeah,
um, it is an interesting dynamic. It's a good start though for them.
yep.
I
Ain't
mean, I know
nothing.
it's very early.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's the problem with Ham. Ham it has a reputation now for giving up leads in games. So I don't even feel that confident that they're up 8-0. Like, well, okay,
Oh yeah, no. I mean, no. There's going to be a lot of runs in this game, but
hmm
you'd still rather that than them starting off cold.
for
So
sure, for sure. Yeah,
it's like get some confidence going, make the other team think about it, and maybe you do blow them out. That wouldn't surprise me either, just because I do like the Nuggets, but they are susceptible to having bad games too. I've seen it throughout the season, some surprising ones. So
it's very much true. Which is why you know a sweep probably didn't make sense to me for that exact reason because I've seen the Nuggets give up games too over the course of the year. So if there's no sense of urgency, the Nuggets are probably not going to be that focused anyway. So you're right. That's fair. That's been very consistent. That's a good point.
yeah, the whole league has been wildly inconsistent. You have even the Wizards, who are like the worst team throughout the season, go on like 3-game win streaks, beating good teams like randomly. You know what I mean? So like it's just it's hard. I mean, what I love about the Wizards, they're not even bad enough to be the worst, right? Like they're just like, they're constantly like they
Does
look
that
like
get
they're
annoying for you? Because
yeah.
like, yeah, I can feel that. I feel that. It's like,
I mean, I guess though, being in the bottom five in the way the NBA draft lottery is, it doesn't really matter. It's not like you're getting that many more ping pongs at 1 versus 2. It's they say that the top five all statistically have about the same percent chance. So
mhm.
you know, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll. I mean,
Somebody was actually suggesting the two worst NFL teams should play the Thursday before the playoffs to decide who gets the first pick. I actually thought that was an interesting idea.
I mean, it's an extra game, but it's like these teams are woe. You know, I wouldn't kill it. I think that's a really fun idea, actually. That's a fun. I
Like
wouldn't. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I would totally watch that. Like that sounds
I
like a.
would too. That's such a cool gimmick. Like, you know,
That's a
like
really really good. Whoever came up with that
make
idea,
it
that was
to
a good idea. Yeah.
yeah, I read that. I was like, oh, I like that idea.
It's
That's
actually pretty
wild.
good.
Especially for a Thursday night football who's like
Yeah,
classically always the worst matchups. It would be like the perfect worst matchup would be the best matchup, you know. So like
it's like a
yeah.
wild card game, but it's just for a draft pick.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Hey, Stewart's
Because
good.
then that way you could tank for the season, but like you're still not guaranteed the number one. You still have to win a game in the end, you know? So I don't know.
Stewart's welcome, Stewart. Stewart says, "Who's this clown on Davy's show?"
Yeah, it's good to
Oh,
see you, Modfather.
it's great to see
So
you too. Shout out to Jillian Hayek, of course, who Stewart's the mod father for. Robbie, before we continue, I didn't want to lose track of this. You
yeah.
all, those of you who have known Robbie for all the 3 years that we've been on, have noticed that he had longer hair until this
It's
year.
true. Very, very long.
I
Yeah.
would love to hear the backstory of what made your haircut.
What made me
Your,
change the
mm-hmm.
hair? It's so for people who don't know, growing up I always had short hair, like very short, very spiky, like very Linkin Park, early 2000s vibe. And then after my wedding, I decided to grow it out. And so over the course of those years, and I'm about to hit 10 years married this year. And so over the course of the 9 years, it kind of grew out over time. And I always wanted to have hair like Dave Grohl, so I was like, oh, let me see if I can do that and grow it out that long. And I liked it. My parents hated it. They think it's like unkempt and does not think it's professional. My wife loved it. I thought it was kind of cool. And so, I kept it for a couple of years, but then I realized that my kids had never seen me with short hair. And I thought doing it when Zara was too little would like traumatize her. I didn't want to do that. So, now she's 2.5. She's kind of at an age where it would be okay. And then so I literally let Zach, my son, be the tiebreaker. And I said, Zach, I've had long hair your whole life. I like the long hair. Grandma and Grandpa don't love the long hair. I'm gonna let you pick because in the past he's told me to keep it because it was something he identified me with. But he's like, no, let's do it. Let's have the same hair. And I said, sure, let's do it. And so the guy who cut my hair for my wedding and also has always cut my wife's hair and has cut my hair when it was long as well. We were down in Texas, so where they are, and he was like, "Somehow I feel in the energy you're gonna cut the hair." And I gave Zach the final say. I gave Liz, I was like, "If you really don't want this to happen, you can stop it right now." And she didn't take the veto, and there goes the hair. So
Somehow, I'm not surprised that Liz opted for the short hair. I feel like that tends to be the move. If you ask someone
no,
of,
no, she wanted the long hair.
oh, she
Zach
wants the long
decided.
hair.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah, yeah,
interesting.
but not enough to like veto Zach. That was the choice.
Ah, that's
So
fair.
it's like, do you want it
Ah,
badly enough to make it to you're the final decision, or do you want to give it to him? And she let
yeah,
him decide. So
yeah. Stuart says the last time I let my kids decide something in my life, I was wearing pink and purple to work.
it's funny. Today
That's
was take
great.
your kid to work day,
Oh yeah.
which is ironic because I take Zach to work every day with me. So because I work at the school that he works at. But I did not have him sit in my office and watch me Photoshop all day. Though I let him stay in kindergarten.
That's got to be
I think
convenient. You go, your kids going to the same school that you work at anyway. That's really pretty.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I did have the option to pull him, but I was like, I'm gonna let him. Me photoshopping all day cannot be that exciting for a kid. It's a kindergartner. He would get so bored. You know what I mean? Like it would
That's
be
fair.
kind of fun for like the first maybe hour, but like you're really gonna watch me do like a magazine layout or like make a poster or you know what I mean? He's gonna sit and ask a million questions and it's never gonna I just don't think he would want to like watch some sort of cartoon on my computer. So so I was just like, you're gonna stay in the kindergarten. I think maybe when he's like in fifth grade or something, I'd pull him though and show him how to do the design work. I think that'd be kind of fun. I just think he's not there quite yet. But it was funny because on my Facebook memories today, 5 years ago, I took him to take your kid to work day, and he was a baby, like not even like 1 years old yet. And so you see him like crawling through the school, which is kind of
Oh
hilarious.
wow.
and now
Oh,
he's a kindergarten there. So like it's kind of how so much can change in 5 years.
oh yeah,
So
absolutely. Absolutely, Robbie. We were just saying, I think right as we were starting the show, like time is fleeting. Um,
yeah,
our guest tonight, Robbie G Sports OTHV. You can catch him Monday nights on Twitch and also on Facebook with the Sports on the Hill podcast. A lot of buddies, people you've known for a very long time. But really quickly, just for those who are joining us late, this is my sandwich of the week tonight. I left enough of it to show people this chicken parm sandwich with pepperoni, and I really like it. This has been really good tonight. It's good
looks
stuff.
really nice.
Last call though, so take a screen grab of this if you want to, because about 5 minutes from now this will be gone. I'm so good, but Stuart says when I took my kids to work, there was zero work done. Nice restaurant for lunch, shopping, and nap in my office.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. I used to have like action figures on my dad's, floor. Like, what are you doing when you're following a lawyer? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, it's not very exciting for a kid. But I like that he checked the box. It was so funny this morning. I call him on my way to work. He's like, I got to apologize. I was supposed to take you to work today. So it was a joke because obviously I'm not going to go with my dad to work. Yeah, it's kind of funny that he remembered that it was take your kid to work day.
Aww.
But yeah, I was yeah, I wonder when he's gonna retire. He's now almost 70, so we'll
Oh, your
see.
dad? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And where's your
So
dad? Where is your dad based out of? Is he in DC too?
he lives in Potomac, yeah, just right outside of
Ah.
DC as well. So yeah, he works for a DC law firm doing telecommunications law. So
Mhm.
yeah, one of the biggest telecom law firms in DC. So yeah.
That's pretty wild. Um, so Robbie, really quickly, this is
Mm-hmm.
like I always use like milestone moments to like kind of get ask people things that I don't normally get to ask.
Yeah.
Um, what room are you in? Is this your basement or is this just another
Oh
room in
yeah.
your basement?
So this is my studio. What's great about my setup is it's wireless, so
Mm-hmm.
you can see it. So right
Ooh,
behind me, you can
that.
see. I always have my Christmas tree up, so
Mm-hmm.
it's Christmas all year round. And then here behind me, you can see the three different screens.
Mm-hmm.
And so the upper one and the bottom one are both connected to my PC,
Yep.
which I stream my podcast from and so like that. The one you're on right now is my work computer. I even have a second laptop here
Oh,
where I'm
nice.
watching. My work computer I use just for Zoom, and it's got a nice camera on it, so why not? My personal computer I use for Twitch chat, and yeah, I've got a couple big screen monitors all set up for different games, YouTube, TV, and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, it is my basement. It doubles as my kids' playroom. There you can see that there's also gates everywhere, right?
Oh yeah.
Keeping the kids electronics, but then we bring the toys forward and they play in that room. And then so you can see the rest of the couch. So this was set up originally as like just a studio, so all my friends could just be live in there, and I just have different computers set up all logged into the same Zoom, and so that way they all have different cameras all the way around the room, and they can still look at a different laptop screen.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's bigger than I expected too. Like I didn't realize it was how big the room was. Like it's pretty
Oh yeah,
sweet.
this room is pretty much why we bought this house
Yeah.
because I had a couch this size and I needed a room that it could be in the basement that was open. And
Yeah.
I always knew I've always had rooms that have had two big screen monitors in there so I could watch two games at once. And then we added a third one. And they're actually all old monitors, so that way they're all the same 1080p. There's no like 4K ones, so that way they'd all look the same. Because
Mhm.
otherwise, I think it would be weird if like one was much nicer than the other one. So,
Oh sure. I
uh,
mean, I don't think. I mean, most channels haven't really done 4K on a regular basis. You see some, but like not a lot.
yeah, it's funny that my latest YouTube movie that I made, it was my first thing I ever made in 4K.
Ooh.
And I got the new GoPro,
Hmm.
and I decided, with scuba footage, why not upscale it? Although most people I find watch it on Instagram or Facebook anyway, but
But it's
I wanted to give them an option if they wanted to view it on YouTube,
oh for
and
sure. Like it's good
yeah,
future proofing because like you can AirPlay that to a TV, and that can take 4K. So
yeah,
it's really interesting.
exactly.
Champ with a comment. I've been in the man cave before. It's awesome. It does look really cool. So I'm glad you got the chance to check it out,
Yeah, he
Champ.
actually came for this year's Super Bowl, so that was cool.
Oh, sweet, nice, nice. That's gotta
Yeah.
be. Oh, that's gotta be such a good place for a party. We talked about that. I know you've talked about that on your show, like all the fun times y'all used to have down there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
so many times. And we got to watch the Stanley Cup Finals and then
mhm.
the Nats Finals as well in this room. So had some heartbreaking moments too. Lots of Game 7 losses over the years for the Capitals.
Yeah.
But more good than bad, I would say. And
Okay. Yep.
it was kind of cool. The whole entire podcast was birthed from this room. It's kind of wild that I've had this studio
Yeah.
for 10 years now. So
I
yeah.
mean, you could have entire band performances in that thing. It's just, it's so big.
Yeah,
It's pretty
it's
cool.
funny that you say that. I'm thinking about having Emily Henry here this summer.
Oh no
Uh,
shit! That sounds
yeah,
amazing.
'cause I also have like an outdoor area too. Actually, hold on. This is
You
kind of
might
fun.
get Calvin to join in on that. Like if
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Calvin's
was
close enough.
thinking
Yeah.
I'll take you to
Okay.
this
While
real
you
quick.
do that, I will catch
Oh,
up on
cool.
chat. So Smarticus says sandwich. Well, Stuart says too much watching and stuff. That's fair.
While watching
Smarticus
stuff.
says, all right, so you're still indoors. I thought you were outdoors. This, all
No, no.
right.
Well, now I'm
Oh,
outside,
you are
but it's cool.
outside.
It's a patio, so you just come
Okay.
out like that here. And so I have an upper deck that a whole band could play
Oh,
on in
wow. Look at
theory,
this. Let me go
and then this
zoom over
whole
here.
entire backyard as well,
And by
so
the way, hey,
people could.
Smarticus. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
So yeah, it's got a. That's one of the things I like about my wireless setup that I've set up for my studio is that
Mhm.
sometimes I can go and bring people outside or
Oh, yeah. Smarticus says sandwich playoffs. Say no more. Hey, Dave and Robbie. Say, like, Smarticus. Let me show you.
yeah, yeah.
Here's what's left of my sandwich. The sandwich is getting played off for me. This is really good. Smarticus says, "Hey,
Yeah.
Davey, nice, great to be here. Great to see you, my friend. Welcome in."
I lost my multi-view, so I have to reset it now. So
King
I guess
says,
maybe there's not enough games anymore.
"King says on this episode of Twitch Cribs, which really should be like an actual. That should be an actual channel somewhere. Like that should be
Yes, that
on
was fun.
Instagram or YouTube or something. Because like
Yeah.
I would love to get behind the scenes, like look around like everybody's studios. Like it'd be really cool.
Oh yeah. There's some really cool ones. That's one of the things that I love about Scribe is he gives tours of his studio, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. T Dog, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. T Dog 88
Yeah.
4488.
He is a fan of the Sports on the Hill podcast.
Love
He
it.
usually watches over on Facebook. I did do a little post from my personal Facebook. I tagged you in
Hmm?
right before I came on saying Facebook will probably suppress the hell out of this, but here's a link to where I am for the next 2 hours, and people found it, so I guess it didn't suppress it completely. So good on you, Facebook.
Yeah, I know that's been a thing. So that's not what you want. T Dog, I
Yeah,
get because Twitter was doing that too. I know why. I know exactly why. They don't want people pushing people to go to other people's platforms. I get it. I get it. I totally get it. But it's kind of like you kind of need to do that in certain scenarios. T Dog is asking Robbie, are you watching the NFL draft?
yes, I am watching. I just answered in chat, but yeah, I do have it on in the background. I am more watching the Lakers game right now because I find that more exciting. My problem with the draft is it's so hard to know these are hits or misses,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
even for a year, right? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like even in years where I've watched a lot of college football, it does not necessarily mean that the best players in college football translate to the NFL because they have to be surrounded by the right people on these pro teams. And so I find that there's often, if you have an opportunity to redraft a year, it would look vastly different 2 or 3 years later than it does when it's initially drafted. So it's just hard to know if any of these picks are going to hit, especially because a ton of them have been offense right now. Not a lot of defense has been picked so far in this, and it's hard to know if offense is going to hit or not in this league. I feel like defenses sometimes in previous years have been safer picks, but I mean, they're obviously on all the teams. Some of the best players were late, draft picks, and some of the, busts are the ones that you get super early on. And then there's questions like, are they a bust or are they not? Like I think about RG3, right? Some people consider him a bust, some people don't. He's a pretty good analyst now. It's just we obviously didn't put the right pieces around him. When he got hurt, we didn't give him time to heal up properly. So there's just so many factors that go beyond, the pedigree of what college you came from, and your potential. I mean, a lot of all these guys have, tremendous potential. The college game has gotten so fast and so good, but it's still hard to know. Um, what's gonna happen. And like for me and as a Commanders fan, there's so many holes, that we need to fill, and new ownership and new coach and new philosophies all around. And you know, I can't even, yeah, some teams can retool it in a year and come back and have a dynamically different team, but it's going to take a bit for Washington to get back to prominence. We can't expect too much too quick.
There's a lot to get into here. I'm double checking a couple things. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, I was trying to figure out. Because like which Washington am I looking at? Is it Washington? Because like I'm looking at the chart. I'm like, okay, I think I got it straight now. Okay, so let me. Smarkus is dead on, and I'm with you on that. Like, I don't want to get too. I don't. That's why I don't really watch it that much because I'm like, what
Yeah,
is
people make a big deal of the draft.
right?
I have it on the background every year,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not. It's never gonna be like the primary thing. I don't even know if I'm gonna do a special on it next week. Like I always debate on that. Like, I know that CP3, my co-host, is at the draft night in what used to be called FedEx Field, which is now called Commanders Field, and so he's there tonight, rubbing elbows with people. He's
Wait,
got VIP passes
are
and
they on
stuff
the
like that.
field watching this, or are they just inside
Oh
the?
yeah, they in the stadiums. They
Oh,
rent
okay,
out the
okay,
whole
okay,
entire thing, and people do it. But I know that he's got VIP passes, so he might be in the field. I'm not quite sure
okay.
on that, but
That's
I know that
nuts.
he is, meeting with people, and so I'm sure he'll do like a video about it, and I'm sure that he'll have other experts on and probably do like a special on it. But I don't know if during the podcast next Monday I'm going to make a big deal about it.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't think that's a big. I wouldn't. I wouldn't myself.
There's so
Like,
much playoff talk in
yeah,
NHL, NBA. Like
it's
that
right, and
for me more
it's
exciting.
better to do a preview of a draft. That's what I've been doing. I don't do it anymore, but I had been. My friend Ron and
Yeah,
I
my
used to.
problem is I just didn't watch enough college football this
Uh,
year for me to feel comfortable enough. I mean, I did watch some,
mm-hmm.
uh, but like
Yeah,
there's so many needs for different teams and so many players across so many teams. Like it's
yeah,
hard to kind of figure this out.
yeah. It's very much very much the case. As Stewart says, draft day analysis is useless for the most. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly, I how valuable is that going to be? I agree with Stewart. Like, I don't really see any value in it either. But that said, I'll tell you who that everybody drafted at the top. A lot
Hmm.
of big talk, a lot of buzz about Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels from USC and LSU, respectively, the two quarterbacks for both schools.
Yeah.
And they went to the Bears, who traded up for the pick. Wow, that's interesting. Bears were terrible, but it must not have been a huge trade up. But maybe that's something they had a while ago. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, people didn't. Now I know that Champ did not want Caleb Williams on the Commanders. So instead, they ended up getting Jaden Daniels out of LSU, who was very good. He did get hurt at the end of the last year of the season, but he was very, very good at
I know.
LSU.
I wonder if he's gonna be a prima donna though. I don't know. I'm still not. I'm not sold on him
Wait, who
until
are we
I
talking
got
about? Who are we talking about?
from LSU, Jaden
Oh, you don't think
Daniels.
I don't know. I mean, that's a conversation for sure. I mean, I don't think
I've
so,
seen
but
some reports and some different things that are coming out of him, but like I don't know. Again, I want to wait and see. I don't even know what's the right play. Do you play him right away, or does he sit for a year? And
I don't know.
put behind a pro, and you know what I mean? Because I've seen that work better sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better just to throw him in.
Yeah, Spartacus says would have been the Panthers pick. There, oh, that's right. The Panthers were one of the worst teams I'd seen in a very long time. I can't believe they would trade out of that. Like, I guess they were really committed to. Oh, it's because they're committed to Bryce Young, who just was god awful last year. My God, that's right. You guess they had to do that, but you still could have used the pick to pick someone like like pick a receiver or pick
Pretty
somebody.
much everyone trades back if you're not going to take the quarterback, though. I just feel like there's
Yeah,
too much draft capital in that position.
yeah.
But
God, the Panthers are so bad. Like, they need to
But if you can
completely
get an extra
overhaul.
pick, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, Smarticus
oh,
says they made a very dumb trade, but I don't mind because I'm a Falcons fan. Speaking of Falcons, Falcons ended up with Michael Penix Jr. My
that
friend.
was wild that they basically told Cousins right before they were going to do it, they were going to do it, and he's caught off guard by that. They were
I
going to
don't.
draft him.
Yeah, it's. I don't think that's a great call, right? Like, it's like you pay all that money for Cousins and you draft Penix. Like, what's gonna happen there?
I
Who's gonna?
think. I mean, how many years was Cousins' deal for?
That I don't know.
He's getting up there. It's not like
Yeah,
he's going to be a long-term solution. I don't know.
yeah. Oh, 4 years. Yeah. See, that's.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a bigger commitment than I thought. See, at
yeah.
3, then I'm like, maybe you should draft somebody to start to groom to, bring in 2 or something. But
It's a very strange
I'm so
decision.
happy we're out of that sweepstakes. Like, it's like I loved Kirk Cousins, for what he was,
Hmm.
but like having to do the franchise tag, that guy made more money for winning so few playoff games. I've never seen it. Like it's actually quite amazing looking at his career and the amount of money he was able to make versus actual winning key games, especially primetime games.
Yeah.
It's just like it's astounding how I good for him, to game the system the way he has is quite impressive.
Well, it's just a fun. It's just quite a story because it's like, yeah, we really don't think that Cousins is that great, but we also don't think we also realized when he was hurt, he really wasn't that bad either. Because like the
How is he
guy,
the highest paid quarterback, Davey, of all time? And Stewart just said that, and I believe it to be true. Like, because just
yeah,
he's had so many crazy contracts. So, like, I just don't know how you get there when you doesn't win multiple playoff games in any season. You know?
it is crazy. Yeah, Tina, great to see you by the way. Welcome in, Tina French. It's nice to see you again, my friend. Um,
Yeah,
some
he
love.
went for the stats and the money and not the win. It's Tina's dead on, but good
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
Like
Tina nails it there with that comment. Like Kirk went for the stats and the money for sure, and so the Falcons are kind of kind of lost here. It's like they can't pick a lane. It's like, are you going to go young or are you going to go with you're going to overpay for like a big name for like a known quantity. Um, I mean that's just a strange decision.
Well, I mean, the thing is in the NFL in the modern day is no quarterback seems to stay healthy for an entire season. So maybe you're banking on the fact that he'll get some playing time, and then if you can mature him and maybe you flip him for something
Yeah.
down the line, or Cousins gets hurt down the line and you need somebody. So, and it's kind of like an insurance policy, but it doesn't necessarily send the right signals.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not like Penix isn't also dealing with injury history. I mean, Penix was hurt too. Like it's just like,
Right.
what are
Well,
we
maybe your
doing?
theory is you're definitely not playing him the first year unless Cousins
Yeah.
goes down, so he has time to heal. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Stewart says, I was wondering why Vikes were so willing to let him go and Panthers did a no show of faith or did a show of no faith by drafting. Is there more wrong with Cousins than we know?
Hmm.
Hmm. It's a good question.
Probably.
Yeah. So Marcus says my money's on yes. Marcus just like going out there and saying I
Yes.
love it.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. It's just funny because Stuart and I both have had the pleasure of having Kirk Cousins on.
Exactly. So you both know Cousins very well. It's rather
Yeah.
I mean, look, I mean, it's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. No way that is that worth it. No. But if you didn't put money, if money was, see, that's a stupid statement because, like, of course, the whole idea is that because he's being paid so much to do a mediocre job, it's like it's completely
I mean,
not worth it.
what are the expectations with him and Atlanta? They can't be like Atlanta is always middling. Like they're very
Yeah,
rarely like I don't know.
there's just those stats though.
Yeah.
I love it. Um, let me see. Okay, so yeah, Snipe. Yeah, it's great to see. But so that's the latest on the draft. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes fourth overall and is drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. And some of the other remaining quarterbacks, the Patriots draft Drake May, who's got it's an interesting case because like Drake May, I don't know, he was good. I don't remember anything particularly great about him. Like he was good, he was pretty good. I mean, he certainly was. I'm trying to remember who the other guy was that they had before. The one he's on your team now, like the previous quarterback for North Carolina. Um, Nuts, I can't
Um,
remember this anymore. Um, Well, anyway, Chargers get Joe Alt from Notre Dame for their offensive line, and Malik Neighbors was really good last year for LSU. Is drafted at 6th overall by the New York Giants at wide receiver. So that's the top of the draft. And Sam Howell, thank you, Particus. Yeah. So yeah, I think Howell was like someone who at least had the ceiling because you could see he could really launch balls. Maybe not with the greatest accuracy, but he was a go getter. He would put the ball out there. Drake May was like I don't know, he might have been at best like even with that. I don't think he's necessarily someone who I would have said off the top of my head like it's 3rd overall in the draft.
Who we uploaded him to? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, Howell got traded to the Chargers. That's interesting. I didn't even catch that. Thanks for mentioning that, champ.
Oh, okay. It was a Charger.
Yeah.
Oh, wasn't he traded? I'm so confused.
Okay.
He was. I mean, he was traded from our. Well, it says Seahawks here. Is it Chargers or Seahawks? Did he get traded again?
We'll have to double check this. Okay, I'll check it out right now. I'll scope that right now. He would currently be in the Seahawks, so I guess maybe he did get traded to the Chargers, but he somehow ended up on the Seahawks after that too. So that's what I know.
Yeah.
Or it was Seattle. Okay. So champ clarifies. Okay, so it's Seahawks. Okay. Pick swap. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh
gotcha.
yeah. It was just Okay.
Okay.
So it was which I think was a good move. I mean, I like Sam Howell. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of the Tar Heels, but I just don't think his ceiling wasn't there, and I just don't think we have the offensive line to support him. I hope that we still find a way to get a better offensive line because getting this quarterback won't matter much unless we can get an offensive line figured out. Anyway.
Reasonable. No, you're good, champ. Champ says now I was wrong. I'm Seattle. I've been drinking. Don't mind me. I've been drinking too. It's all good. You and me both. So yeah, no, that's great. So Robbie, we both. I remember when I was on the day after the day I got back from Jeff Con, I streamed the night I returned to LA. And I remember you were mentioning how you were in Texas. So you were quite familiar with a lot of the spots, including Rudy's, including HEB, including Buc-ee's. Like, it's pretty cool.
All of them. Yeah. It's funny because like for the first like 30 years of my life, I had like barely ever been to Texas, like never really until I met Liz, and then now I go 2 to 4 times a year, and I got married in Texas, in San Antonio, and so I've been to Austin, San Antonio, spend most of my time in Corpus, but also in Houston as well. So those are the spots I know the best. But I've also taken trips to like a place called Hebronville, and also into the just all different parts of the hill country as well, which is a lot of fun. And been to Schlitterbahn, which is a really fun water park, as well. And I've also been to Aggie Land, so a College Station, to see a game there. I got to see Johnny Football play there, which is really cool. And so yeah, I've gotten to travel all over Texas. It's a really huge state, very interesting.
Yeah.
The best barbecue, and their breakfast tacos I think are the best thing about Texas. So,
even more than the barbecue. That's high praise.
Even more than the barbecue. Because I mean, I've seen people able to replicate the barbecue, even if it's not quite as good as Texas, but you can get Texas barbecue even here, right? But I've never gotten anyone to replicate the breakfast tacos in the same way. Like there's something about them down there they're just built different.
I tell you what, you got something to that, because like I had them down in Austin, and I'm like, they were great and big time. But the reason I got to have them, let's give a big old shout out to Jason L. Rush. Like Jason L. Rush brought him in to our meetup. Like,
yeah,
Jason's a big time game
So which way did you have them done? There's like 20 different ways to have a breakfast taco. That's the other thing about them.
So what I remember about it,
or egg or cheese, or bean burrito ones, or there's carne asada, there's carne guisada, there's there's a million ways to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I had the egg, and I believe there was cheese as well. Corn tortilla, and then that red salsa. and it was
Oh yeah,
great.
they have both a red and a good green one
Yeah,
too. Sometimes the green is the spicier one. Yeah, there's
yeah.
a they're wild there with them. Yeah, I'm such a white guy. I often do it with flour tortillas, but I understand the value of the corn, but I like the extra
All
starchiness.
right.
But also I feel like it holds up sometimes better to like the really heavy, greasy ones because the carne guisada ones
Hmm.
are like with dripping with gravy and beef tip gravy. Oh, so good. Um, so I highly recommend that as well. So there's so many different great options. You can't go wrong with breakfast in Texas.
It's. Are you surprised that other people can't replicate it? Because it seems simple on the surface. It's like eggs and
Yes, it
tortilla.
does seem simple, but I cannot explain it whatsoever. But I just feel like Tex-Mex is different
Hmm.
in Texas than it is even in California, which I've had Tex-Mex and other Mexican food in California, which is phenomenal. They have their own great stuff, and you guys have great carts as well.
Yeah.
Food carts and stuff like that. But I don't know, Texas, their barbecue is really great. They also uh they make kolaches. I don't know if you got a chance to have a kolache.
Oh, you know what? Jason did bring in. I didn't have one, but he did bring in kolaches as part of the package.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also, I mean, it's like a pigs in a blanket, but on crack. Like it's so much better. Like I don't know, like it's quite a thing. It kind of reminds me a lot of dim sum, in stylistically, of like meat in a bun, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's really good. They also have good donuts down there. They also have, I don't know, Jason's Deli. I don't know if you guys have those out there, but that's also a staple, good sandwich place.
Nice. That just yeah. I mean, the food aspect of Texas is a home run. Like it's really great. Like I am looking forward to having more of that next time I get out there for whatever reason. Um, so let me show you the breakfast tacos a little bit in detail, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
catch up on chat. Stars at night are big and bright. Clap, 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 clap. Snipers is deep in the heart of Texas. Everybody joining in. I love it. Beautiful.
That's
Um,
pretty awesome.
well done, Sniper. And
Oh,
Champ.
I like
And
how Mandy Prater, Texas. That's pretty hilarious.
I met Mandy during the trip.
Oh,
That
nice.
was
That's awesome.
awesome. Yeah,
She seems so cool.
she's very cool. Like in person, it's like everything you could have hoped for and more. Like it's really cool to
Yeah.
hang it. Yeah, I mean, down to earth as you can
One thing I
imagine.
really love about Twitch is I feel like we have a pretty good sense of people because
Hmm.
they're in their homes, streaming, and and not to say that there are some people that don't put up a character or whatever, but for the most part, especially in Twitch music community, I feel like they're singing their hearts out. They're not really putting up these walls, and so I feel like you get a pretty good sense of a lot of these people
I think
and
so.
who they
Like,
are. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm rarely that surprised at someone I meet in person, other than maybe their height or their things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, their appearance, yes, because you're only getting, from the
Hmm.
waist up or whatever, you're getting a very specific look with a HD camera, which is, so it's a different situation
I
there.
hear
But
it.
like, I think for the most part, like when I met Scribe, like I felt like I had known him for years, even though, we were meeting for the first time, right?
Of course,
So
yeah. And that's on my bucket list too. Tina was like, "Oh, so cool that you met Mandy." And Smarticus says, "Davey, you have no idea how jealous I'm of that. I feel it. I hope you can meet Mandy too." But I'm
sure.
jealous of Tina. Like Tina got to meet you. Like that's great. Like that and Carlo. Like I want to meet both of you someday. That's super cool.
Yeah, I still, it's funny. Tina and I are like ships, crossing in the night. Like we keep on having events that I'm supposed to go to, she's supposed to go to, but
Hmm.
we'll make it happen. We'll go to some sort of
Oh
sporting
yeah,
event.
yeah. That's right.
Uh,
Tina says I didn't get
um,
to meet Rob. That's right. Because I'm sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right. I take it
but
back.
it'll happen though. I'm sure of it. So
Yeah, I
we like
mean,
to do the same things.
I feel like
I'll
it's
probably
only.
invite her over for Emily Henry, a house concert that I throw here this summer.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That sounds like a great idea. Tina
Yeah.
says, I met Carlo Calvin a few times. That's
Yeah, we
super cool.
both met Carlo on the trip. We just didn't get to meet each other. So that's why it's really
Oh,
kind of funny that Carlo is our, common bond.
yeah. So, fun fact: I've also met Emily Henry. Emily was in L.A. For the
Oh
tour
yeah,
with
I got to
Laser.
meet her here.
Hmm.
And it's cool that how many shows she does in the area. I mean, obviously she's from this area, so I guess like it shouldn't
Makes
be
sense.
that
Yeah.
shocking. But yeah, it's cool to see her hometown shows.
That is pretty cool. Like Emily's got really good music. Like it's really fun to hang out with Emily, and Emily Henry's like got is quite the conversationalist. I imagine you had a great conversation
Have you?
with her.
Has she ever been on the show?
No, and I think I
Wow.
need to work on that, right? Because like I think
Yeah,
that
I
needs to be. She'd
I
be a
think
great
that would be
interview.
great.
Oh my
Yeah, she
goodness!
would be
Like
a wonderful interview.
oh
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. That's just my bad. Like I
Yeah.
just need to initiate. I think we'll be fine.
Your
Because
people have to call her people, you know? So it's
and it's really great. Like I know she's very well connected in the Twitch music community. We've seen so many people jump in and out of her channel and vice versa. And I've seen her hanging out with Wonder, for example, and like so many Sashi and whoever. But it's been really incredible. Oh, Tina met Juke. I love it. Yeah, Juke's awesome. And Juke's mod Mike. Nice. Super cool.
yeah, Juke seems so awesome. I would love to see him live. And he plays here like once a month or once
Yeah.
every other month
Hmm.
or something. So I don't, there's definitely opportunities for me to
Oh
slide down
yeah.
and do it.
I
So
mean,
yeah.
you're really close to there. Like National Harbor, Maryland can't be that far from you at all.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a 45-minute drive, so
yeah,
it's not,
yeah.
it's I wish that it was more metro accessible. You have to like switch a lot of lines and it's
Oh yeah.
annoying.
But
But
definitely, yeah,
yeah, definitely worth doing.
for sure. We're here with Robbie G, by the way. I hope you. I mean, a lot of you already know who Robbie is, but in case you didn't, Robbie is a sports podcast host who hosts a program called the Sports on the Hill podcast. And in addition to the sports, you're often hosting art sessions. You're showing people how to make emotes. You've had interviews with other people on Twitch too, and so the
Mhm.
variety is pretty cool to see whenever you're jumping on to do such things. I know you've shown clips of your scuba diving. Like you do quite a bit.
Yeah, it's fun. I wish I had more time to do more variety streams. Like, because it's funny, because when I started, I was a sports podcaster, and people don't even know. I was talking about this a little bit at the Rusty Panda show about how I got my start. And originally, I was just gonna be like a behind the scenes producer for a sports show for Carol. And then they asked me to do the show with them, and it kind of grew from there. And it was originally just a call-in radio show, and then we added Facebook Live, and then years later added Twitch to it, and then I've built it up from there. But it's I thought that was always what I was going to talk about. I mean, sports is a big part of my life, but I mean, my day job is I'm an artist, and art has
Mhm.
always been a big part of who I am. I was an art major in college, doing film, animation, web design, interactive video design, website stuff, and so I would love. I miss teaching it. I was a teacher of it for many years, but then I kind of moved full time into doing communications for the school, and because that became a full-time job into itself, and then other people took over the teaching side of it, which I think is the right decision. But I do miss teaching. I love showing people how to use Photoshop or InDesign or video editing like Final Cut, and different stuff like that. And so it was cool to kind of find a way that I use Zoom to send a live stream from my computer, my laptop that has all of my Photoshop and all that on it to the other computer, and so that way it wouldn't bog it down. Because that was the thing, is like processing power, doing video editing or Photoshop while streaming is very taxing on a lot of computers, right? So by decentralizing it and having the Mac run all of the video editing or photo editing software in the cameras, and it leaves the PC just to ingest the video and outgest it, then it doesn't have to actually sit back and process too much of anything else.
Mhm.
And so I love being able to show people what I do, do the video editing thing. I always loved teaching video editing. I think it's such an interesting art form, and it's funny because so many people like hate to edit, and I for some reason I've just always like loved it. I think it's such an interesting way to do art, to be able to take music, soundscapes, be able to combine it. And because my parents always took like footage of our lives growing up, but you're not going to sit through like an hour of VHS tape or whatever. But I always thought, what happens if I took the highlights, the best of, and make it like a music video and edit
Mhm.
it to music, especially of Twitch musicians, and then it's kind of like a time capsule of that time. And now I can go back 4 years and say, oh, I was listening to Carly or to Andy or different people, and it's cool that that they can be the soundtrack. And so many great Twitch musicians have given me the rights to use them in these projects,
Yep.
and I even got to use Emily Henry in one of my latest Scuba ones, and I think that her music is really awesome. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun to try to do collab work that way, and also have people on as guests and like design their emotes or their logos or whatever. One of my favorite emotes I've ever designed is the Pac-Man uh, sandwich.
I love that. Let's get some
Yeah,
Pac-Mans in the chat, everybody. Like, it is a
yeah, so
really stellar
yeah, it
creation,
is a
man.
really awesome emote. So it's definitely one of the coolest ones that I think I ever designed. And it came about so organically. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, you need a Pac-Man. Like I was just like, let me do this. Like, it was actually one of the
Did
first ones
you
I think I made.
did you do that like when after seeing this or before? Because I feel like it
No,
was
it was
before.
before.
It was
I
before,
think it
right?
was
Yeah.
before. I think it was just the idea that Pac-Man always eats like funny things. Like, what happens if I replace the circle dot coming in with a sandwich because you already had the sandwich logo and I swapped it
It's
out.
clever.
And yeah, so yeah, I think it's before your light thing. So
Yeah, I believe you're right because it's
yeah.
so it just that's a really nice serendipitous moment there then that this came into being. We get so
Yeah,
much.
because it was like one of the first things I remember. Like, I'm not even sure I'd even been on your show yet. I was like, "Can I make this for you?" And I think I DM'd you, and yeah, it was
I
like one of
love
the
it.
first emotes I ever made. I love the fact that they've opened up more animated emote slots and
Yeah.
allow for people to do more with that. And it's so funny because I used to teach animation design as one of my classes to high school kids, and I never thought that using Photoshop and the GIF animator editor would like get me like a kind of almost like a side career. Like I've ended up making animated emotes for so many different people across Twitch, and it's just cool to be part of the lexicon. And I love that about emotes that like people, it's part of the language, that people use, and it's just always fun, and it just makes me smile whenever I see the Pac-Man or any of the ones that I do for like
Mhm.
Dan Tremblay or Josh Turk or so many others.
Oh,
So
I love it.
um, yeah, it's so fun.
I mean, yeah, that's it's a very good feeling to see your work like being showcased all over the platform, and it makes me
It kind of
smile.
kind of makes up for the fact that I only get to stream once a week, but I get to still see my art in other places. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If that makes sense, like
yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Like it's and for the people who get to use these emotes on their channels, it also is great for it makes them smile. It makes me smile certainly whenever I see the pump it ups all over the place.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm not even there and I see them being used. It's great. Um,
yeah, that's awesome.
you ever see that? Do they use Twitch stats for created emotes? Because they do for the ones in your channel, right? But it's
Oh, actually, no, I think it's just the ones in your channel. So, but I do get to see like which ones are the ones that I have
yeah.
on my channel, which ones are the most popular used or whatever.
I
So
have
it's
a
always
no. It's great to see the stats on that, right? Like, isn't it fun to see like
I
yours?
would like to. I wish it would. Ones you're attributed to see
Mhm,
those stats. That would be
yeah.
smart. It is cool that there is a menu where you can see all the emotes that have been attributed to you over the years, which I always like going back and seeing this huge list of, especially from all of the different raid trains that I've been attributed to across so many. Yeah, I designed so many raid train emotes, and so it's cool to see how many different people have done those over the years.
Yeah, pretty. It is neat to see, and I actually have a lot of fun trying to figure out who designed everybody's emotes. I actually put in some significant research into that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, so they did that one. Sometimes you still don't know, but it's always good to find out.
Yeah, I love that you can put that in there, and I
Yeah,
love that they added the artist badge to Twitch. That was, I think, one of like
it's huge.
one of the best things that they've added. And I love that it doesn't. You can be an artist and a VIP, or an artist and a mod, like, and it's not one or the other. Like, I
Hmm.
really appreciate that.
Yeah, 1000%, 1000%. I do want to make a note for our friend Tina. Tina, I am so excited to bring your sister and our good friend Andrea Cannon Guitar on this program. We're gonna have Andrea joining us on the 7th here on the
Oh,
Sandwich Show.
nice. She's
Very
great. I love her finger picking. It's wonderful. I get
so
to
good.
get some stuff out of her fridge in real life,
Yeah. Oh,
So
I'm living for that. I cannot wait to do that. To see the fridge in person.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe we have to take an IRL trip to the real fridge, so that
Yeah.
would be because for the sandwich show. So,
It's a
but
terrific,
yeah,
terrific. Yeah.
I think it's one of the best gimmicks on Twitch.
Yeah.
Going in the fridge. I've always enjoyed that. So
Oh, there are always new surprises in that fridge. It doesn't get
yeah,
stale at all. I love it.
yeah, it's very cool.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't?
One of the things I love about Twitch is like everybody has their own different commands or different like personalities or different,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's one of the things that like no two channels are exactly the same.
Yeah,
Everyone has their own like take on it, which I think is a really cool
for
thing.
sure. It's actually one of my favorite things about Twitch is that no two channels are alike. Because we're not. I mean, yes, Twitch itself is owned by a giant corporation, but the channels are not. We have
Yeah.
complete domain of our channels, and it is really really fun to see the difference. I mean, some do it better than others. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them are not
Yeah.
that exciting, but others are much really really fun.
Well, it's
And
funny to see also how channels evolve over time. Like I even
yeah,
look back at mine, like how basic mine was when I, first started, and then I did like a ton of stats, and then I took it all back, and I went, so it's just like it's always fun to go back through some of our VODs and see decisions that we made and
yeah,
questions that we have, and at this point, most my latest layout, which I've now had for a couple of years, I love that I try to push the people forward, and then the other stuff is sort of ancillary and around, which I think you do a good job of that as well.
uh,
And
yeah,
it's because I love letting the people shine. That's one of my favorite things about doing a show like
absolutely.
mine is I feel very blessed.
Like
Like
this.
I forget that most people stream by themselves, right? Majority of streamers.
Yeah,
And you and I get the privilege of having other people to talk to, on the show, and that's actually kind of rare, across Twitch, to be totally honest.
very
Like
true. Yeah.
very few, there aren't a ton of interview shows. And even if they are, some of them are like they'll interview once a week, but it's not like it's like an always kind of a thing. And one of the things I've always been very inspired about this show is I love how interactive it is, especially like the golf tournaments and, the karaoke. And, that's something that I've always tried to do on my channel as well. Try to find ways to, like when around the Olympics, people get to talk about their favorite sports or, trying to make it a little bit more when it's like I bring somebody on and I do art with them and I interview them about their channel while I do art, it makes it a little bit more unique and a little different.
Yeah, for sure. And I do appreciate that the chat has taken advantage of the ability to engage in the program. Like I make a point of that because I want the chat to be seen and heard and also enjoy kind of be part of it. So it is a truly unique thing, particularly to this channel. Like I mean, I've certainly seen a lot of channels where you get good point redeems, but the level to which the chat can really literally like have take control of certain parts of the show is actually something I've long enjoyed.
I love that. Like, and that's why I've been lately trying to work, just playing around in the back end, with different software like Triggerfire about, using commands to make, like I did a choose your own adventure story that people could play like during my podcast during Halloween and, trying to push limits, with, graphics and pop-ups and, there's so much you can do with it. I love and I don't, stream enough and I don't have enough equipment for it, but I love working with other streamers and trying to develop cool strategies for them to engage with their audiences. So like for Carlo, for example, I was working on, background changes and color changes that we could do in his layout while he is streaming. And eventually we're going to get more camera switches and do some of that. And so it's kind of fun to be able to make it interactive with the user. But I also like one of the most fun ones I was able to work on. You had him on a couple of weeks ago with Scott, Firestone Rocks Drums, and working with him trying to come up with a cool layout where doing commands in chat would flip between different scenes and different screens, and basically it allows for some of his moderators to be a director for him and direct the whole show while he's performing, right? And I think that's really, or people could use point redeems if they want to join as being a part of the directors, right? And any of the VIPs can do those commands to work together to make a show. And I just love that, right? I think that it's really cool. I think other people that do a great job is like Bula Acoustic, who I also mod for. He I love his sweeping cameras that go through while he's playing, and it adds so much of a dimension, that just having a camera on you the whole time, um, doesn't really have that same thing, and that's one of the things I like about the fact that I have Zoom is that it's not just the camera's not just on me, and it's the guests as well.
It helps a
Um,
lot, right? Like it just lets one be less self conscious. And I love. Let me read a couple comments from Smarticus. Smarticus says, exceptionally rare collab streams. One of my biggest surprises when I got into Twitch is how few collaborative streams there really are, and it's true. But I will say that has been changing in the last year and a half. If you remember, if you've seen how the advent of Stream Together has encouraged creators, particularly creators in the music makers and craft section of Twitch, to add
yeah.
more people to their channel. I've seen a lot more of that since that time, and I'm really glad for that. It's really cool to see other musicians like having people on their shows. I even just saw with Carissa,
I
like,
just wish the latency wasn't still there. Like we got to work on something that's like a back end where for them where you could really play music together. I think there's some other software out there that I know that Dan Tremblay uses sometimes. But like I don't know, like it's cool and I love having different people on the show and each person can kind of take over and be their own guest, but the delay and latency is still something I would love because some of these musicians are so incredible. If we could get that latency down and they could really play live together in real time, we would see some incredible things. It would change everything, at least in my opinion.
yeah, definitely. Though I still think there are certain dynamics you still aren't going to rip, but it would help a lot, especially with karaoke.
Yes.
Our group songs would not be a complete train wreck anymore. That would be very nice if we could get that to go.
Well, thank you, Cypher. Cypher said that he likes the new logos. I've been working with Scott behind the scenes on designing a new logo for him, and it's taken honestly a couple of months because different things kept on popping up in the way. But we're both patient people, so it's not like we're not trying to rush it. There was nothing specific for it, but
Yeah.
really love what we've kind of come up with as sort of our final designs, and
Do we have
so yeah,
a preview of this content, Robbie? I'd love to
yeah,
see it.
I probably do.
Hey, Seaman.
Hold on.
Great to see it. Real time latency is such a technical problem. That is amazing sentence. Okay.
It is
You
amazing.
swap the positions of two words and you make that sentence absolutely fabulous. Like that's a great,
Hold on, let me see if
pretty
I have
good.
it on this computer. I'm pretty sure that I do.
Yeah. And the Steeman
Uh,
streams as well. Give our friend Steeman a follow. Um, so can you share it
which
on
one?
your
So
thing?
I'll ask. Yeah, I can.
Okay. I'll just go
If
back
you
over
give
here.
me share permissions on Zoom, I can just share it
Oh, this will be on
directly
Zoom.
from.
Okay. I'll just because I was wondering, like, do you have it going through OBS? Because you could just put on your OBS thing through your
I
regular
don't have
feed.
it going for OBS, but I can.
Oh,
I can. Is it okay if I do a share screen?
yeah, that
Or is
should
that
be fine.
gonna?
Yeah, let me just give you co-host permission right here. So it'll take a second. And get you over here, and then you'll be able to do the thing. So let me. Do you already have it?
I think.
Oh, maybe I already gave it to you.
Yeah, I think I
Oh,
have it.
look at that! Look at that,
There you go.
folks. Let me go over here and take a
So,
look at this. Wow, Robbie.
yeah, so that's kind of the design. We were looking between a couple of different designs. Let me see if I can pull up the other one that we were sort of down to our final two,
Okay.
and I don't know which the chat picked. This is the other one. It's more like a gradient, grade
Mm-hmm.
black, which I also really liked. And one of the people in Firestone's chat actually came up with this fire and the word Firestone. And then I worked on changing the coloring a little bit, adding a glow to it. So if you put it behind, like if you put like black or something behind it, here, let me just show you what it looks like with a cool background behind it. This is probably a secret one. I don't even think that he probably showed this one. So
I mean, I
you can,
think it would be ideal with just a black background, though, right?
yeah, you can put a black background on this too, but I was just showing you if
Oh,
you had like
okay.
a textured one with like the glow
Mm-hmm.
against the wall, you can do that. You can have it black and it would have a glow. white would have a glow. It's cool to be an emote with the glow, then it could look cool on black or
Yeah.
white, it's transparent. I like the blue, especially because when we originally started talking, he was saying he really loved Yankee blue. And so I grabbed that color.
Naturally. I got to know how much of a sports fan he was. I had no idea. I did not, because Kenny
Yeah.
is such a not sports fan. So I was thinking, oh, he'd be like Kenny. He probably isn't going to care about sports. I
Oh
was
no, he
so
is.
wrong. I was so wrong.
We're dueling it out right now as he's a Rangers fan.
Oh, I
on
saw
the couch.
that. He was doing the
I
goal
was
song during every Ranger goal on his last stream.
right, and
I
it
was
was
like,
funny because I was taunting him earlier in the week using all of his red emotes back at him, saying, Caps, to the point where he changed his goal light from a red goal light to a blue one. Because I was trolling him so much with the red ones.
oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt good about that.
Yeah.
And so I like this with the
Yeah.
blue. I can see the gray one working too. So it's funny because he was convinced that people would like the gray one better, but I think from what I heard, people in chat like the blue one better.
Okay. I mean, the chat's got to be the tiebreaker there. Yeah. I mean, no doubt.
Sure.
Let me catch up on chat. So, Steven says sharing images on my computer would be a risky move.
It was my work computer, so at least the risk would have been showing my work. But yeah,
that helps.
Nothing too
that may not help in every person's situation, but it helps. It would help in most people's situations.
Yeah. That's how I figure. So.
No, good deal. Good deal. I know that's terrifying. Like I always worry. Like, I mean, there's something here that I don't want people to see.
Right. Well, that's why I stream from my work computer, which is seems counterintuitive, but it actually, because it's like I'm not gonna put anything on the work computer that I wouldn't want my boss to see. So
that's good.
It's kind of a safer.
King says, "Damn, t-shirts when." That's a great logo.
Yeah. No, that is actually the next thing we're talking about. T-shirts. I was actually trying to build one that'd be big, that could be like across the chest, like I do on my I have my own podcast store, but he seems to want the pocket square idea.
Oh, okay.
So he's a little bit smaller, I think. So, but I'll work with him on designing merch leading into the summer. I've built a lot of merch stores over the years. I like Teespring. I think they do a wonderful job, and it's really easy to build your own storefront with them. The other good one is Fourth Wall. Fourth Wall is really cool because you can like run a lot of Twitch integrated stuff, and people can like buy stuff to donate to your chat, which is really cool. But I've never made one personally. I've always did it with Teespring, but I also built it long before Fourth Wall I knew about. So
oh, that's super cool. Catching up on chat some more. Smarticus says GWT by chance, Robbie.
What is it? GWT? What does that mean? Game winning. What is GWT?
I'll have to let Smarticus determine that for us.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Smarticus will also elaborate. I'm sure it's something that I'm just not thinking.
Oh, Girl Without Tattoo. Oh, that's right. I know Girl Without Tattoo.
Oh yeah. I remember her.
Yeah. You mentioned you had help from one of his subs.
Oh no, it was not her. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was somebody else in chat.
Was it Cindy Court?
Designed. No, it wasn't one of his mods. It was somebody else.
Okay.
Oh, Mikey B, Tina French. He's so good. Mikey B is who had designed that logo, and
nice.
I modified it. Originally, I was actually taking some StreamScribe logos that he had designed for Firestone Rocks, but it was too literal. It was like fire, rocks, and stones. You know what I mean? And we just, in the end, we just thought it was almost like too corny. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I think we needed something, just his name, explosion with some fire still. We need some pizzazz, but Firestone being on fire was, I think, too much.
It's too good. So literal.
I have some of those earlier designs. It'd be funny if I pull those up, but yeah, it's one of the designs I came up with that got destroyed by chat, which I'm totally fine with, because like I'm so used to working with kids and doing crits at high school level, so like you're not gonna hurt my feelings, because I've seen it all. But it was.
Bless you.
Sorry,
you're good. Smarticus says GWT does graphics. That's why I asked. That's cool. And Mikey B is awesome, says Smarticus. And yeah, good pull, Tina. I love it. Um, blue, green, blue, green.
I'm back. Uh, yeah, so lots of blue emotes for sure. But hopefully the Caps find a way to get one back at home. We played them much better in Washington this year. We won both games in Washington, including a shutout on my birthday against the Rangers. So it is possible. We've played much worse in New York, and honestly, like just in the first game, we just had a bad 3 minutes, and then in the second game, I think the physicality got to them, and it just got under their yeah, under their skin a little bit. But I think it could be very different when it moves back to DC with the home crowd behind
Hmm.
them. And Ovechkin's had a terrible series so far, so that he rarely has three bad playoff games in a row.
I
So
mean, he's getting up there though. To be fair, right? So it's like
that's true. He still
yeah,
scored 31 goals this year.
right. Smarticus says Mikey B does most of the graphics source for my living room, and I do know that channel. You're one of the mods over there. That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because that's also, I think, a part of the team Vamos. We were talking about stream teams earlier. And Bula Acoustic is a part of that team as well. So they're all friends.
I see Jamie's arrived in the chat. Jamie, I was I the pizza is in my stomach at the moment. But it was really good. We had it to start the stream. Did anybody get a clip of it? Anybody? If you did, great. If not, don't worry about it. But I have pictures
Yeah.
too. In fact, I will show you a picture of it. So I'll show you a photo of what we did, of what I made. Just post on Discord first, and then I'll get this thing up on screen. But it's pretty damn good. It was pretty amazing. It came out great. It tastes unbelievable. I'm really, really happy with it. It's like really, really good. So I'll just put this up really quickly, and then I'll show the photo of it. This looks so good. There we go. Okay.
So there's a question in chat. So I'll answer that. So the answer is he's 41 goals away from Wayne Gretzky. So people are asking how many more seasons. I think two more seasons would be reasonable. Two more, 20, goal seasons could do it for him. But I'm still of the mindset that if he's within 10 goals of 900 at the end of the next two seasons, he's playing another season. There's no way. And like I don't even know why you would ever think he would stop at 895. Like if you're that close to 900, why wouldn't you ever stick around until you're the first
Well,
900th goal scorer?
yeah. I mean, it's really, really a matter of what will his what will his physical age and
He
his body
still is one
condition
of the
allow.
top hitters in the league, Davey. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
and like and was able to put up 31 goals even with a super slow start. So
Yeah.
like I think he can do it.
All
I
right.
think
Here comes a
he's built.
photo of the pizza chicken that I took before the stream tonight. You ready for this? Here it comes. There it is. Look at that. It was really good. I'm gonna tell you, I would 10 out of 10. I would totally make it again. I had a ciabatta roll, and Sources have photos, Jamie. I don't know if he has photos of the sandwich, but he does have photos for sure. Um, yeah, yeah. The ciabatta rolls are really great. I'm really glad I went with it because I'm like that tasted so good. Like, what's in the middle? So, what you have here, this is pepperoni, and this is the mozzarella cheese. Here's the bun. Um, I don't know if I have another angle on this, but um, what is in the middle dough? I'll zoom in. I'll try.
There's cheese, right?
I'm not sure what Jamie's referring to because like this is cheese, pepperoni. This is ciabatta right here. This over here are sun chips on the side. So so then over here, so we have sun chips over here on this side, and then this is the roll, and then the chicken's over. This is all on top of the chicken. So this is the pepperoni. See if that makes any sense, but Okay, we should be
I
able.
love Smartacus. He's dang all you streamers, your food photos making me hungry all stinking day. Carlo and Dave.
Yeah,
And Carlo is always the best.
it's
He was
so
so
true.
funny because he went to BurgerFi
Yeah.
and he was, telling me about it, and, when he saw me, and then like immediately I had to go to BurgerFi and eat it because I'm like, now you're talking about a chain that I have here, and so it was funny. By the time he got on stream to talk about BurgerFi, I was like, I had my own burger pictures to talk about. So he's very.
It takes a
He's
lot
very
to
good.
get him to swoon when he has all those great those great food photos. But man, apparently I've done it because like I tend to get Carlo very satiated when it happens, and vice versa. Listen, like every time I see Carlo's photos, I just like, oh my gosh, I just ate. I'm hungry again, Carlo. Look what you did. But it's a great thing. Um,
Right.
Jamie says, "Did I bake the roll?" I didn't. I yes and no. I didn't. I got it from the store, but it's from a local bakery. But I did bake it again. In other words, I baked the roll with the chicken towards the end so that it could be nice and toasty. So I didn't bake
Right.
it from scratch, but I did like toast it, if that makes any sense. So it's a good roll. Yeah, ciabatta's great, isn't it? Like I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, everybody's in on ciabatta. Yeah, this is really really good. The pepperoni looks large. Yeah, it's pretty large actually. It was a much larger pepperoni than
Yeah,
people.
I almost thought it was salami at first, just by
Yeah,
the look, you know?
that's the thing. It's like you can get pepperoni in three sizes. It's pretty ridiculous. Like you can get pepperoni. I'll just leave it here because I don't want people to see this. But so pepperoni can be in the regular like quarter size that everybody sees on pizza. You know, it's like the size of a quarter.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then you can get it the size of like like you can get the size of like a silver dollar pancake. That's what I have here. But then you can get it the size of like a slice of salami. That's huge.
Oh,
So you got
that's huge.
yeah. So when you go to the
I don't think I knew there were so many sizes of it.
it's yeah, it surprised me too the first time I remember getting salami at the deli. I'm like, whoa, I mean this is like three times as big as I was expecting. Yeah.
I'm so jealous. Seaman is looking at Caps tickets right now, and Tina's husband's going
Oh really?
tomorrow.
Nice.
Um, yeah, well, I hope that he brings luck, Tina. We need it.
Jamie
So,
says, "Oh, and they make those tiny ones that become grease cups. Those are the best ones. Like the ones, the
yeah.
tiny ones. That they're so good. They're thick too. Yeah, Jamie, those are the really good ones. Yeah." Stuart says my pepperoni education is now complete. Look at that, Steven. Would you be in the area for that game, for the Caps game tomorrow? Interesting.
Yeah, I think
Interesting.
I don't think Steven, I think he lives near-ish. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Davey
He might
Tech Talk pepperoni. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's in DC. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, right
There's a
on.
lot
Right on.
of people on Twitch in the DC
That's
area.
cool.
I'm always impressed. Yeah. Um,
More
yeah, it's
than
definitely.
Are you surprised that there are so many people in the DC area? Like that's
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
it's pretty good.
I seem to just run across them a lot.
Yeah.
So,
I think
it's good.
the biggest surprise for me that there are not that many Twitch, at least for what we follow. So like music makers and crafters. There
Mhm.
really aren't that many Twitch music makers and crafters in New York. I was
Yeah.
honestly very surprised at that. Like relative
Maybe
to
it's just
Chicago
expensive.
and you
Well, maybe
know,
it's just expensive to be a crafter in New York. It's
yeah,
very possible.
that might be it. It is very you're right. Like it's tough to find the cost of living's
Could be
crazy.
anything in New York. I
Yeah.
actually I went to college in New York, and it's just like so incredibly expensive there. It's
Yeah. It I mean it's a great place to visit, but when you do you're down for a while. Like you're just it's just very expensive. It takes a lot out of your finances, you know? Oh.
no. I mean, heck, where I live in Maryland, it's one of the wealthiest counties in the country. It's ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sniper says thick pepperoni that curl up on pizza. Yeah, those. That's the one that Jane was talking about too. Like those are my favorite. Those are really good. I don't know where do you find those? Like I can never figure out where to buy them. I just see them on pizza, you know? Like
mhm.
are there if I go to my Italian deli, will there be one? Will there be like a batch of them? I'd really like to get those. Like Steven says when we say we're in the DMV, we're not registering our car.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's a weird term because everyone else DMV they think of motor vehicle. Where well, it's
Yeah.
funny here we call it the MVA, and so but yeah, it's Delaware. Maryland, Virginia, or DC, Maryland, Virginia, depending on who you talk to. It's
Yeah.
always very funny.
Tina says funny, but I did register my car today. All right, let's go. I love
I
this
hope it
day.
wasn't too painful because the ones in this area, at least, are often very painful.
Yeah.
The Maryland one is atrocious, so maybe Virginia is better.
I,
So,
I mean,
the Dallas
hopefully.
Cowboys pick is in. Ugh. Sorry, I almost puked. Sorry, I saw the symbol go across my screen.
Why is there oh, the draft?
Yeah.
What, another draft bust for Dallas? Have fun with
Yeah.
that, Dallas. Like,
And they're going offensive tackle, which is something that I kind of want. So, offensive tackle from Oklahoma may not be a bad pick.
all right,
So,
it's gonna be May. Yeah. I mean, May's yeah, I mean, that's gonna um I forgot the name already. I go back over there and read this again. Okay. Drake May. Yeah. We were talking about May a little bit ago, Jamie. We were like, wow, that's quite a pick. I mean, this is the best available pick, certainly. I don't know what to say. I mean, it could be good. It might not be good. It's just like, I felt like Hill, damn it, I forgot again. Sam Howell, thank you. Okay. Yeah, that was let's see. Green Guy says, I went to a bar with the draft on. Of course, I was there for pub trivia and not the draft. Of course, Green Guy. Of course. What's going on, Jeffrey? How are you doing? Can we give a
pub trivia? I used to do that before I had kids a lot.
Yeah.
I always love pub trivia.
Green Guy, can we give a shout to Green Guy Music, everybody? Was he though? Was he really the best available? I mean, let's see. What else could you have gone with there? You could have gone wide receiver. You could have gone Penix. I mean, it certainly would have gone McCarthy in that scenario, but yeah. I mean, I would have gone Bo Nix, actually. Tell you the truth, I think I would have rather had Bo Nix. Of
The
the two.
Lakers are falling apart again, Davey. It's very frustrating.
I mean, I told you, I called it. I said it at the
mean, it's not like I didn't agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, they were by 10, and I'm like, yeah, watch, it's gonna be like a 2-point game, and it's like 4 points right now. It's like not even surprised. Like,
well, it's 4 with 2 free throws coming.
Yeah.
Rui with the foul. I miss Rui. I always liked Hachimura. I thought that was a tough one to let go. I know the Wizards had to let go of a lot of players.
The answer is no, Davey.
Got to rebuild, but
That's fair.
I always liked Rui. I think his was cool, and I love for a time. We had a Japanese and a Jewish guy on the team. Like that's pretty cool. Like yeah. It was like how DC became the most international one. I don't know, but we had our own like Hebrew Twitter account and Japanese Twitter account going for the Wizards.
So, oh, funny.
Yeah.
Good times. Yeah. Green Guy, I just wanted to ask a really quick question. And Marcus says the answer is no, Davey. It's not hard. That's fair. Horror host Joe, great to see you. Welcome, by the way, my friend. Welcome in. The question for Green Guy: what category do you feel the most confident in when you do pub trivia? I'm gonna ask you the same question, Robbie. Like when you do pub trivia, what is the category you feel like you can do really well in?
Probably either music or movies would be my guess.
I like it.
It's just on sort of the subcategory of whatever that is, mm-hmm. I think, but general trivia for either one of those. I mean, I really spent a lot of time studying film, and mm-hmm. I know a lot of bands. I mean, obviously, especially through all the nodding and stuff on Twitch. But
yep.
So I mean, there's obscure things in both those categories that would stump me up, obviously. But yeah. If you're talking about general trivia, I think that those would be my top 2.
Dig it. Smarticus says, Robbie, why did the Lakers not try to angle for OKC instead of Denver?
I mean, I don't know. I thought OKC was better than they look in this playoffs, but I don't know.
It's a great question because, like,
I can see that. Yeah.
If the Lakers, and it's now a tie game, by the way, if the Lakers lose tonight, that's 7 straight playoff losses to Denver.
Yeah.
That's not good.
And they lost a lot in the regular season, too.
Yeah, they haven't won a single game against them since December 2022.
Oof.
It's rough. That is rough.
They got a 12-point lead, and now they're down 3.
Now they're down 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't say, well, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. So, is there anything else here?
Especially because this is like one of the few teams that we like both like root for, you know?
I
Like,
know
so
it's funny.
it's funny
Uh,
that they're playing on the night that we're doing this, but yeah.
it's too bad. It's too bad. Oh, what you can
Yeah.
you do? But you know, like I said, it could be a blessing in disguise because I don't I know you said you like it. I don't like him myself because he's so bad in these fourth quarters. He cannot execute in a big
You know,
game.
I don't know if I like him as a coach. I said I liked him as a
Oh, as a
player. I
player.
thought he
Okay,
was.
okay.
I like those heart and soul kind of guys that you need. And, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I liked his intensity. Stewart asked a question. Have we talked about the Oshie hit yet? And we have not talked about it. Which, yeah, what a controversial hit. Have you seen it, Davey? Do you know what we're talking about?
We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to look into that because like there was some outrage over that hit for sure.
Yeah. So basically, Panarin comes through. There's some talk on whether he leads, with and hits the chest first, but he comes up and hits through the head, right? And in the NHL, it's a little bit of a weird rule because it's talking about what is the primary point of contact, right? And so there could be an argument that the body was hit first, but the NHL they talk about wanting to take concussions out of the sport, but then you got to basically say you can't follow up and hit through the head. Like they already made that decision in football, like where it doesn't matter where you start if you finish up through the head, it's a penalty, and it should be. And I like big hard checks. I love hip checks, and I love the physicality that is hockey. But for me,
That
like
needed to be penalized though. I think based on.
well, the problem is it's Panarin, who's never once been suspended in his career,
Mhm.
right? So he has obviously, favorable decision making there. On the ice, it was called a 5-minute major, so that way they could review it. And then a fight happened afterwards. They review it and say not even downgrade it to a 2-minute penalty, but say there's no penalty there.
That's
And I'm
just
like, how
weird.
does Toronto see that and
I,
not want to try to get that out of the game? This is an opportunity they have, and they reverse
it,
it. And I hate to be that homer guy that like this always happens to us. Like if it was the other way around and Tom Wilson did that to Panarin, he's getting suspended for 3 games because of a history, right?
yeah,
And
it's.
it's ridiculous.
I've
It's the
heard
same
that.
hit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on other people's message boards too, and I've seen the same red points. Like it's like if it was the other way around, it would have been a very different. They would have assessed the discipline very differently. And yeah, Stuart says
People are
Panarin thing.
joking online that Tom Wilson's going to get a 3-game penalty for Panarin's hit. Because that's the
That is
average joke
funny.
right
That
now
is funny.
on X.
So
And it's just like
now that
fuck,
would be no,
man.
no. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Draymond Green is gonna get suspended for 5 games for that hit. That's what's really gonna happen. Like so.
Exactly. It's just like it's wild to me, like
Yeah.
the how like if it is it to a Capitals player, not assessed. Is it from a Capitals player? Let's give him a 3 or 5 game penalty. And
Well,
I'm just
it's
like,
not even about that, right? It's just it's a hit. It's a hit. It's a high hit. You gotta assess something for that. You can't give him no penalty, like regardless of
right.
who the teams are.
And it sucks because on X and on Facebook, everyone's like, "Oh, it's a clean hit, it's a good hit, and good hockey hit."
No,
And then a
no,
lot of people
no,
are saying
no.
that
Yeah.
he hit Panarin with a high stick that wasn't called earlier in the game. I'm not necessarily for high sticks not being called, but you don't get then if that's the case, then he's hitting him with intent.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
And the other thing is the concussion spotter saw it and pulled TJ Oshie. So you can't have it both ways. You can't have your concussion spotter take him off and say it wasn't a hit to the head,
It's
from Toronto. They don't, you know what I mean? Like
it's so inconsistent. And Stuart says
yeah,
it was wrong on every level. That fact Toronto overruled is insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's very frustrating, and it made me so angry. I started just seeing red because I was just like, this is
Yeah.
fucking bullshit. Like, and then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just like, and the problem is like we haven't. I'm happy for Tom that he's kind of moved away from his like persona and his old like I'm gonna beat everyone up and like destroy him. But I'm like, I kind of sometimes want it back. Like I'm just like I just wanted him to just
Yeah. It's
just
something
take
you don't
somebody
want to.
out, play for it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I
Nah,
just don't want
listen.
us to get swept in this series and just put our tail between the legs and be like, like like we got to show up in the next
I mean,
game.
it's not the it's gonna be interesting. I mean, we'll
Panarin's
see.
going to have a mark on his back, though. The fact that this wasn't reviewed by DPS, or whatever,
Yeah.
safety committee, like the the fact that they didn't even review it the next day, and they review almost every hit. I'm like, are you
It's
kidding
a
me?
very
Like,
curious. It's a very curious outcome. And it's a question of two things. Does this? And I do want to wait. I do want to keep this comment in first. Steven says they want to take concussions out of the sport, but they allow fighting. Yeah, they've been trying to legislate fighting out of the game of hockey too. Like that's definitely a lot less fighting than there used to be. And to
yeah.
whether that's good or not, I mean
And
that's
it's funny because like
right.
Rempe like loves Tom Wilson and wanted to like get his entire game patented off of him, and then he scores a goal, and then I talk on my podcast about how he's trying to be the next Tom Wilson, and that got like boozed by my own podcast. People are like, "Yo, just a thug," and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, that's what most people think about Tom Wilson,
That's yeah,
and
precise.
he did
You're
score a
right.
beautiful goal. Like I don't know what you want to say. Like he's the guy that broke the ice because it was 0-0, and then
Yeah,
two more elbows in the face, punch in the face, and boom, boom, it's 3-0, and they're down
it's
in that game. It's
it's
just
a, it's tough to visualize. Maybe they'll get one game. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's
I mean, and New York's much better. We didn't even
oh
deserve to be
yes.
there. We had a 5% chance of
Hmm.
even making it in
Yeah,
January.
yeah, yeah.
I think that all of this is great playoff experience for our young guys.
Hmm.
So like I'm not necessarily upset about it, but
Yeah.
I hate getting swept. So I really want us to show up for at least a game. But um, I do think that the wild inconsistency in the calls is frustrating. Like it needs to be consistent at least through a game, if not from game to game. But the fact that in the first period they called everything, like to the point where I thought they were calling too much. And then in the second period, there was two elbows to the face and a slew foot, nothing called, and all of them when we were reeling as a guy's like into the boards, with a head injury at Oreo, and they should have stopped the play because there was an injury on the play. They don't, and they score a goal on it, and then it's 2 goals and avalanches to 3, and it's like it makes a difference. Like that is such a stunning change of development to go like, well, you're calling everything, so we thought you were going to call it, and then you didn't. Like you just got to be consistent at least throughout the game. Like you just can't go from like calling everything in one period to calling nothing in the next. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
it's very
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, Sniper says, didn't they do that for a while? Well, I mean, it's things can change within a given series, within a given playoff scenario, within a given year. We'll see. I do want to do one more thing before we go though. And that is of course what we call America's favorite moment in Twitch broadcasting.
Do the dance. It's time for random questions. Good stuff. Ask us anything.
All right, Robbie, we're gonna give the chat one question. So we only have time for about one question each. So if you've got a question, make it count, my friends. We'll each of you one question and for a random question tonight. Send it on in. Use exclamation point question followed by the question itself. While you get those questions in, because Robbie's here, I want to make sure I don't want to miss this either. Let's do some starting lineup, everybody. So
nice. I'm happy. I didn't have to redeem it today.
that's right, free one tonight.
Free
All right,
one.
all right, folks. So yes, if you'd like to join our lineup, exclamation point lineup, join our lineup, and then I'll announce your name, basketball style. It's a big time of the year for basketball playoffs. We just had the Final Four a few weeks ago too, so it's a big time part of the year for basketball. Y'all, let's do it.
I hated that final, by the way, though. I love that entire series up to the end. I also think that the women's March Madness was so much more interesting this year than the men's, which is so
Well,
rare.
somebody, I don't know. I was gonna say, the games in the women's Final Four were great compared to the men's side. So good.
Yeah, I thought the men's side was kind of boring, to be totally honest. Because I even had the final during my podcast.
Yeah.
I always do my season premiere the night of the final. But
What I will say though is that I was not I was it was an outcome I definitely saw coming because UConn was just heads and shoulders above everybody this year. They were
yeah,
so good, and really nobody really got close to them. Realistically, they were so good. Like it was just this special year. Sometimes your team's just gonna be that good, and I gotta give them a lot of credit. I mean, it sucks for the purpose of content, but it was great to see from the purpose of history because
I
they
do think that Stewart had the Boilermakers winning it all, and it was almost right.
they were close.
So
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, real heartbreak for Stewart
he was
because
going to win my bracket,
Yeah,
I think, if they
right there.
won. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Stewart, you had a great run. That's so hard to get even close to like winning one of those. So like that was really well done, really well played. But yeah, just an unfortunate that the two games or the few games at the end were just so lackluster, just so uninteresting. But only because UConn was so good. Like they played very very well, and nobody got close. So anyway, let's get to it. Okay, starting lineup. Thank you for hanging out. Yeah, both teams in the final, but Purdue had a better chance to get there. Oh, interesting. Oh, really? It was that close. It happens. It's all good. It's all good. All right, folks. Starting lineup time. Let's go. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for registered for the lineup, everybody. Let's go. And now the starting lineup for your Robbie G and Davies eating a sandwich show. Leading off tonight, our collab guest of the evening. He's the host of the Sports on the Hill podcast. He's also an artist by day, an artist for people on Twitch by way of his emotes. Let's hear it for one of the most well-traveled people in the Twitch music community and the Twitch makers and crafters community. Our good friend Robbie G, Sports OTHP. And next in our lineup, coming out of the great province of Manitoba, by way of the fine city of Winnipeg. He loves himself the Burns, the Jets, and the Blue Bombers in the CFL. He'll make you an offer you can't refuse. Let's give it up for the Mod Father, Stewart. Hey!
Mod Father!
And joining us, another great mod in the Twitch community. Coming out of the DMV. And literally out of the DMV today because she also registered her car. Let's give it up for Tina French. I loved how literal that was. And sneaking in with a nice snipe with the command. Let's hear it for our good friend Sniper CBU. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries, your Robbie G, Sports OTHP, and Davey's eating a sandwich show. Woo! Oh man, they love you, Robbie. They love you. I love it.
It brings me back because I totally rooted for the Bulls, back in the 90s.
Good times.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever remember a team that so many other people around the country would root for at the same time. And root for, teams that everybody knows, but usually root against them.
I don't know, Shaq's Lakers, with Kobe, I think they were pretty beloved, So I would say they were kind of the next generation after the Bulls. That's at least how I saw it, from an outsider's point of view. But I agree. I think that more people like the Bulls, but that Shaq Kobe team was just so likable on so many levels. It got a lot of people hyped.
It's some fun times. I remember it well. Yeah. But those are fun times too. It was just very historic times, really just an amazing, something that'll never be repeated. Not only the 6 champions, I just mean the amount of support it got nationally. I don't think
Mhm.
you'll ever see that again. Like the Chiefs,
I know. I kind of wish that. Like, I love that he came back and played for the Wizards because it's just wild to me. But like, I feel like
yeah.
he should have just stayed retired. You know what I mean? Just like I feel like if anything, it slightly tarnishes his legacy.
Oh, no
Sadly,
doubt. Yeah.
yeah, I love the guy, and I think he didn't need to do that, but
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's wrap it up with like this, with like a few round of one last round of questions. Use exclamation point question followed by your question. We'll take one from everybody in the chat, one from each person in chat. Throw them on in. If I remember correctly, I might have to go back to my notes, but when we asked you the breakfast question, the pancakes, waffles, French toast, did you say French toast was your choice?
I think so. I think I went the stuffed French toast route. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where it came from.
Yeah,
I think that's where I went with it.
that's good. Okay, so I believe we have that already documented for the record. So good to know. I'm always trying to
Yeah,
figure out where everyone is. So,
yeah. I think I went with the French toast. I mean, I like all of them,
oh yeah,
but there's definitely different ways to do it, different things.
yeah.
My favorite, throw some bananas in there, whipped
Mm-hmm.
cream. You can make any of them good. I do like a good chicken and waffle though, like a savory thing. You can,
Hmm.
yeah.
Pretty
So
good.
yeah,
Denver's up by 6. I imagine you know that already, but mm,
yeah. I mean, but they're still in it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's just one little run and boom. Now it's four. So
Yep, it's 4 now. We're pretty much on sync in this because we both have YouTube TV, so I'm pretty
I know
sure.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I love YouTube TV. It's funny. I wish I kind of cut the cable earlier. Like it sucks we don't get Masson, so I don't get my Nats and the Orioles.
Hmm.
But like, for everything else, it's great. Especially in the playoffs when they do like the 3 and the 4 ups, and you can watch all of it simultaneously. Like on Monday, that was so clutch. So
Oh yeah. I mean, and tonight was clutch too. It was really great catching all these games. Like a lot of close ones tonight too. So hopefully more of the same. It's going to be great during football season. Oh boy, boy.
yeah. Are
Um,
you gonna get the NFL package for it?
um, Probably not, but
Yeah.
it is for those who have it.
I
It's
know it's
amazing.
tempting because it is
Yeah.
they do a good job, and I
Yeah.
also like the catch up feature they now have. So you click a button and they'll show you all the highlights and stuff like that. So that's helpful.
I love it. Yeah. Um, I think I got one question. Um, and
I see one from
I
Smart.
keep thinking of this question, but maybe we
Oh,
first get to Smarticus first. 'Cause I don't wanna step out of turn. So first, Smarticus. The question is, if you could be a GM owner for any era of any sport, so does that mean like a commissioner then, or just an owner for a team?
I think it
Um.
means an owner of a team for any sport, but you choose the era,
Oh.
right? I think that's what I'm reading.
No, I think that's
If
right.
you
I
want,
think that's right. Yeah. But anyway,
um,
which one, and give the main reason if you are able.
oof. Um, that's an interesting question. I almost always like to pick hockey or football just because those are like my favorite two sports. And if I was gonna pick an era, I would probably say maybe like the late '90s, maybe in football and um, yeah, which one? I would say probably football, late '90s, um, and maybe see if you could do something like they did with Tom Brady, and try to build around somebody, and because we just had such terrible ownership and such terrible like GMs. Like I feel like if we could have salvaged that situation, we could have been better. I think that would be my answer.
I like it. I like it. And thank you so much for the question, Smarticus. Yeah. That's
Do you
an
have an answer to that, Davey?
um
It's a tough
it's a
one.
tough one because it's like, just how would I
There's
know they would have
layers.
been as good as they were if I was the one controlling, in charge of the
Yeah,
operations?
exactly.
That's why I would struggle with that question for using going back in time. I
Yeah,
think what I want to do is I want to just go to a current situation and see if I can make that work. And I
yeah.
think for me, um, I would want to. I gotta pick carefully here. I think what I would want to do I think I could do it. I would take over the Trailblazers. I think I could make that. I could make that thing. I could make that thing hum again. They have great fans. Like they have really great fans. It's a good market. They're close enough to Seattle. Like I think you can get a decent profit. You can get some decent profit there. I mean, it's not a big city, but honestly, news is Pittsburgh, and they're fine in the NHL. So like, I think you could do it. You can make it happen. I think you can make it happen. The people there are so loyal to the team. They're loud. You just gotta be less than miserable as an owner or GM, and that's what they've been for quite a while. I think they just start working on that draft again, and they can make things happen. And I seem to know a decent amount about college basketball these days. Like that would help. But it's really not about that these anymore anyway. Like you really would need to know the international market to really be good at being a GM these in the 2020s. So I can probably get people to help me with that. I think that's what I'd do. I'd take over the Blazers and just see if I could make them a perennial playoff contender like they used to be. I think I could do it.
What you should do is you should do it of the U.S. Olympic team for basketball.
Oh, that'd be
I
hard.
mean,
You want a
yeah.
challenge. That's a challenge. Oh my goodness.
Um,
Oh.
but you think they're just gonna crush, right? This Olympics. I mean, they're so stacked. I just don't see anyone in the world being able to compete with them this year.
No,
But
that's I when I said that's a challenge, I mean it's just a challenge. Like how do you manage the personalities of that?
the
But
egos, right? For
yeah,
sure.
yeah, it's obviously a
Yeah,
great team. I mean they're gonna be
yeah.
really
And
good, you know. So, um,
God, the Lakers just like they got it to close, and then they just Denver just so quickly
I don't
balloons it
know.
up. Like it's
Well,
yeah.
you know what it amounts to. This team can play great defense. The meaning the Nuggets, like their Nuggets defense is such a fun. It's been so good most of the year. Like I do think that they've done really really well. I mean I don't know if I have the numbers to prove that, but I always see them and they are very very good at keeping the team from scoring.
I mean, 75 points for the Lakers, and they're just, they're
Yeah,
defending well in the paint and making everything really tough
yeah,
and clogging it up. And yes,
yeah.
thank you.
We're gonna see. I mean, it's not out of the question. It's an 8 point deficit, but they were up by 10 like early in the game, so it just gives you some.
Yeah, 12 at one point, I think.
Yeah, that's
So
not a good look. But at the same time, it's still plenty of game to go. Um,
yeah, you just gotta keep things close in the
yeah,
NBA. If it's within 10 with a quarter, he still got a shot. So
yeah. Smarticus says, "Thank you, Rob. I like that choice."
very good. Thank you.
Steven says, "U.S. basketball is like EU soccer." Yeah, the pressure too. That's the thing. The pressure to win with a team like you, if you fuck up, oh, you'll never hear the end of it. You know, it's very similar vibes there with the pressure to win with a team like that. Snipers has got to go. Have a great
Yeah,
rest
have
of
a
the
good
night.
night, Sniper.
Take care, Snipers. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate you being here. All the best, Sniper CBU. Always good to see you whenever I can. Um, so let's continue. We got only one question left. I don't see anything else in the queue, so let's close with this one.
Wait, you see the Dan Snyder question?
Yeah, that's the last question. That's the
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah. So,
I thought you had a question as well. So
oh, I did. So I'll throw that in too. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. So first, Steven's question. The question is: with Dan Snyder out of Washington, what do you think? I mean, sorry, what do you think positive changes might be? Wait, let me read this out. With Dan Snyder out of Washington, what do you think positive changes might be for the Commanders?
yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that he was sort of this dark cloud over the team, and just put his, he was a super fan, and it's dangerous. And I know that the new ownership are also fans of the team, and I think that you should be a fan of the team if you're the owner. But I just felt like for too many years he put himself in positions where he tried to be buddies with players, and he had favorites, and you can't really do that and be a successful business person in the NFL. So I think that it's taking a step back what the new ownership has done and putting the right people in place and like let them cook, as they say, and just try to take a step out of their way and let them make some decisions. I think that they did a good job of hiring a good GM, and I think that's an important, obviously, step. And it sounds like people really like Dan Quinn, for as a coach, and so yeah, it'll just be interesting. I don't think I think it's important that people temper their expectations and know that next year might not be the year. I know that some teams are able to retool in a year, and I just don't see that happening for us. But try to build an offensive line. Try to gel around a new quarterback. Try to get some pieces in there. We had so much cap room this year, so I hope that we use it wisely. Don't just try to buy the biggest name free agent, but really try to build through the draft. Also, I hope they get a bunch of linemen in this draft, both offensive and defensive, because you can never have too many of those. And just sort of build this culture and this knowledge that they're going to keep on making steps towards the right direction. And just sometimes just a fresh start is what's needed. I almost feel like they should change the team name again, to be totally honest, and just really just rip the band-aid out
I'm
and just
not
start.
gonna comment on that, but I did think football team was a pretty cool like identity for a
Yeah,
while.
go back to Washington football
That was
team.
pretty good. Yeah, I actually liked it. I think more
Commanders
people
is
like that than
then the Commanders.
yeah,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
So I would try that, at least do that for another year, and then like maybe don't be so cheap and buy one of the trademarks or the other ones that people like. And Dan Snyder was never willing to put the money up for us, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Like,
Completely. This is not the question I was going to ask you, but completely random question. Will we finally see the Clippers win, or I'm sorry, make? And this is not a joke. They have never made. They've never even advanced into a conference final in the Western Conference since they've been the Clippers. That's
no, I
just
don't think that they will.
well, maybe not
Not
this
this
year, but do you think they would in this decade?
this decade.
Yeah,
Maybe. I think every team, if they build correctly, should have a chance within a decade. So I would hope so.
I
Like for that,
I would
but I
hope so
don't
for
know.
their sake too, because like this team has run pretty well now compared to the Donald Sterling era. Anyway, like
Yeah,
it would.
I don't know. They've got a black cloud. This is why sports is just such a fickle thing, and why I'm so happy the Caps won once. Because like with any of these series that are these best of seven series, in these playoffs, injuries, people get, all these different, potential things that could go wrong. Like it's so hard. Like there's no knock on football, but like you can go on like a 4 game win streak and you find yourselves in the Super Bowl, where like a 4 game win streak in these other sports you get out of a round. Like so like it's a totally different situation. Like and it's like it's so hard and so fluky. In basketball's the same way. I think it's hockey is flukier with the board bounces and the hot goaltending, but with any of these team sports, a bad injury go one way or another, or just somebody goes cold from the field, and it can change everything.
Yeah, it's 1,000%. So, and that's kind of why, like, when you do go on a run, it's like you gotta just cling on to this. I would say it might even be even more so in baseball. Baseball is like impossible. Like,
Yeah, that Nationals run, how old
that's
they are, and like talk about
bizarre.
an unlikely to beat 200 win teams. Like it
Hmm.
just looking back on that, like the Caps one was improbable, but they had kind of been building for years, and like they had been getting so close, but falling in the second round every year, and you kind of felt like once they broke through and beat the Penguins, that they'd have a chance at it. But the Nationals, like oldest team in baseball, barely made it in. They were a wild card team, had to win a 1 game wild card even to make it to the next round. Then you know what I mean? Like it just like it, it's and the pitching was okay, but it wasn't like dominant going into the playoffs. Like I don't know, it just nothing about that team screamed champion to me, and I still couldn't believe it up until even the very end. Because if you remember, like the road team won every
Yeah, it
game
was weird.
in that World Series, so it's like we had to win 2 games on the road to win it after losing 3 at home in a row. Like,
It was wild, man. It was wild. Um, yeah, but that's what you gotta. These moments you savor them because like you just never know when it'll happen
I
again.
mean, those podcasts I do after those wins are some of my all-time favorite episodes. Just
Yeah.
having those fans, call in that have rooted for these teams for a decade, and the offense the night before the parade, and just like that elation because for like 20 years, Davey, in DC, we had nothing. You know,
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
nothing for a long time. And so we were wondering which team was going to break through. And we surely didn't expect like 2 in 2 seasons kind of thing. And four, if you count the Valor and the Mystics, which we covered both of them. And I actually had press passes for the Valor and the Mystics.
Well,
So,
here's an interesting question. Do you think no, see, this is now I'm speaking out of turn because I'm like I was gonna ask, do you think the Bills will ever win? Well, I mean, one, will they make the Super Bowl with Josh Allen there? And I have so many thoughts on
they're
this.
such an anomaly. They're
It's
such a good regular season team, but
it's
they just fall apart in the playoffs.
there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, the thing about it though, and I think people who follow the team would also say the same thing. It's like they did not get any breaks for the injuries. Like they keep getting like key players on defense hurt, key players in the offensive line got hurt.
That's the NFL, though. Your
Yeah,
third string to come well for you to win a championship. You know what I mean? Like, because like the year Philly won it all,
yeah.
like think about how many injuries they had and how many like third string players they had to rely on that final run. I mean, their quarterback, for God's sakes, was everyone had counted out at that point.
Yep.
And so um, I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, um,
Injuries are such a huge part of the football landscape that it's hard.
let's just address Siemens like follow up really quickly. Moving the stadium from DC to Potomac Yards, bad idea or good?
Um, moving the team to Potomac. I mean, it didn't happen. So, um,
Would it have been a
it,
good idea? I guess
talked
is the
about.
question.
Yeah, no, I hated the idea when it came across. So we had to talk about it a little bit on the show, but I try to talk about it as little as I could. First of all, teams have tried to move to Virginia in the past, and the people want to
Oh,
have
have a good night,
tax
Joe. Thanks, Joe.
and have a good one. Um, people, the tax breaks are great often in Virginia, but you have half the state in the South being like, why am I subsidizing these sports teams in the North? And so it's always going to be dead in the water. And it's the same reason why we get FedEx Field, which is now, I keep calling it that, but it's now called Commanders Field, ended up back in Maryland is because it was going to go to Virginia and the legislature couldn't figure it out. And um, but no, I did not want it to be a couple miles away from the Amazon 2 headquarters. Some people don't realize this, but one of Amazon's biggest headquarters is right next to there. And traffic would be a nightmare if you have an Amazon headquarters and you've got, basketball and hockey, and that they have a metro stop, but it wasn't designed for like that crazy amount of people that would come through. And so they'd have to redo that, and just traffic's a nightmare. And people are like, oh, it's only a couple miles down the street, but it's like a couple miles in rush hour traffic if you're coming from Maryland is like could be double the time, like so it would go from a 45-minute commute on the metro where right now it's dead center in DC. So it's equidistant from any direction coming in through the metro. And it takes me like 40 minutes to get there. It would take me an hour and a half. And honestly, it would be prohibitive. I don't know if I would go. And I think a lot of Maryland people felt that way. And I know that there are a lot of Virginia fans of these sports teams, but you can't tell me that the Wizards have a huge Virginia following. Like the Caps do, sure. But a majority of the Wizards following is all squarely in the city of DC, honestly. And they never showed the projections or the numbers of it. Every time they showed numbers or projections, it was always based on the Capitals. And you have to know that the numbers didn't support the move or they would show it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I was like, why do you just show hockey numbers and not the basketball ones? Like you're moving both teams. Like
Right. It's like you can't have it both ways. Like it's exactly like it's And the thing about it is that if the Wizards were ever to get out of their own way, they're going to be a much bigger, much more profitable franchise than the Capitals because the NBA has just got more money.
Basketball should be king in DC.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we've been lucky with the Rock the Red era that we've made hockey what it is, but there was a time in the 80s where people thought that we would lose the Capitals, the Bullets have been a part of this area for forever. So
a lot of history. It's just funny, like we don't think about it because they've been so bad for such a long time, but there is a lot of history with with that franchise, and it could come back again. Like I just think,
The problem is Ted Leonsis loves hockey more than basketball. That's clearly evident,
why don't
And
these owners have like two teams like that? Like just then get rid of one of them
he
and
wants to
let
own everything. He wants to own a female league in every sport. He wants to own. Like honestly, I thought for a time he might buy the Nationals.
Oh, that would have been rough. Well, it's already rough, but I mean, it would have been even more rough.
yeah, exactly. I'm kind of happy that the Orioles are finally. Well, I don't want to talk ill of the dead.
Let's not talk about the.
But I am happy that it was moved up because that was such a horrible TV contract, and they basically held the TV rights to the Nationals hostage, which is ridiculous. And
well,
really
I mean, it has to be considered that you have to utilize what the market will bear, right? So, what is the market going to bear for the Nationals in that market? Since so many people in that area already are Orioles fans, like what is the ceiling? Is the question.
That's the thing though, is like I don't think that all these Oriole fans are suddenly not going to be Orioles fans. I would watch both. So like why I don't think it's like stealing the market in the same way. Like
well, no, I mean exactly. Like that's actually a good point
was the
because
argument of why the Orioles got the rights to the national broadcast.
It's funny because it's like I don't know what they're trying to gatekeep because they're just not losing. They're not gaining that much by doing so. Like, it's such a marginal gain at its best.
I mean, they really need to renegotiate and redo the whole TV contracts in this area for baseball. Because the fact that I don't even get it on YouTube TV, like, it's a horrible system. Like,
it's a weird situation. Baseball contracts in general, I feel like we just need to put an end to local regional restrictions.
I think it's kind of the same way about the MLS. Like, I'm not going to buy
this is ridiculous. Like
Apple TV for MLS. Like,
I have the same problem with the Dodgers. I can't watch them regularly, not without doing some extra work to get to the Spectrum app that I don't I don't actually have access to, but other people I know have access to. It's like so. It's just it's a lot.
Baseball and soccer need to do something better about their TV contracts.
I mean, I know I know people are trying to cling the last of the old system of cable revenue, but it's just not happening. Like more and more teams are getting off of it. More and more people are unable to watch their own team in their market.
Sports, for example, they made their own network, and good for them.
Wait, who did?
Like, Monumental Sports.
Oh, yeah, the one the Capitals network. Yeah,
yeah. They have the Capitals and the Wizards, and you can buy them streaming separately. Or they also have like the Mystics, and they have like some. They do other.
So what is the story behind that? Because I'm a little confused why some people came off of NBC Sports and some people still have NBC Sports. Like, what happened there?
Well, so NBC Sports, they own part of this, and Comcast owned, part of it, and and Monumental owned part of it. So they basically spun off part of it and bought the rest of the contract. So Monumental owned a part of it.
Oh, okay.
And so they decided to buy it, the whole thing, on a 2-year plan, so that way they could learn from NBC Sports like how to basically run a network and the graphics and the back end and all that sort of stuff, and then they would slowly basically spin it off, which is what they've now done.
I think a lot of teams, and particularly the NHL, have noticed this because I follow almost the entire league on ESPN Plus now. Like a lot of teams have spun off their teams into different networks. I thought that was interesting. I think AT&T Sportsnet folded though. That's a big reason for that. So in other words, people who are on that, including the Kraken.
Well, and that's the other problem is NBC Sports, like the main network folded, and so then you have all these subsidiaries. Also, it's always been confusing because like what's there the NBC Sports Washington? Are they related? Are they not related? Like so I think there was definitely some confusion in the marketplace too.
Yeah, a little bit of that. But I was referring to other teams in that scenario too, because because that explains the Wizards too. The Wizards kind of moved over with them. But NBCSN, but that was a lot longer ago. That was like several years ago. Like they died, and so
I mean, I remember it like OLN, Outdoor Life Network.
I do remember OLN.
So
I remember
or even like. Yeah, I mean, we had Home Team Sports here way back when, so I've seen all sorts of these old Versus Network, so hockey's gone through some interesting transitions
Yeah.
over the last 20 years
So
for sure.
if anyone can follow along here, it was Outdoor Life Network where they were showing like like bicycling and fishing and
Right,
stuff like
and hunting deer and like
yeah, yeah.
random shit like
They
that,
they
and
went
like,
right. So they went from that to Versus, and then I remember when I was just out of college, I'm like, what the hell is Versus? I was like, what?
right.
Why is it called Versus? Like I didn't understand. And then it was like, this is just like where all the hockey is. I'm like, oh, they just put all the hockey on here. And like, I didn't know what it was. I just like, oh, there's hockey on that thing. Like it's, and then it became NBC Sports Network. Then it was NBCSN. It made no money. Nobody watched it until it was the NHL Cup playoffs. But do you remember that the standoff they had with DirecTV for a while? That
Yes.
channel was dark for like I think it was the Versus at that point. That channel was dark for like a solid like couple months, and it was weird. I was getting worried. I'm like, oh man, there may not be any playoffs for me this year.
Yeah, it's so wild.
Yeah, but
The cable stuff is so predatory. It's just ridiculous.
yeah, and that's kind of it, right? Like, where
how
does
are
it
you spending
end?
$200? Why can't you do a la carte? Why can't you pick channels? Like the whole thing is just
I know
it's
because they make less money, but if you let people do that, I get it. But it's just like, but nobody's happy in that spot.
like I often have like 600 channels I don't care about, and often
Yeah,
still don't have a couple of channels I still need. Like I don't,
it's a
so
lot.
ridiculous.
It's a lot. It's like you know, think of it from the other point of view too. Like people who pay like $100 a month or $150 a month. It's like I'm paying $150 a month. Like like a big chunk of this is going to a channel I will never watch. ESPN. Like I don't
Right.
give two shits about ESPN. Like I'm not saying this, but
ESPN's so funny because even if ESPN Plus, if you don't have a cable provider, then you can't still get regular ESPN on certain broadcasts.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like
Well, that's why you still
it's.
need YouTube TV because like that will give you the regular ESPN stuff. Yeah.
I know, but that's wild to me. Like if
It's
you're
not.
buying
I don't think
ESPN
it's that
Plus,
wild. Because then, if they did
ESPN
include
Plus
it,
should be everything
it would cost
ESPN. Like what are you
it would
doing?
cost like $45 a month if it had regular ESPN on there. It would
I
be
know.
crazy. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. It might be worth it, but I mean, like, it would be crazy for sure. Like it would be. I mean, I would love the synergy of that. Yeah, because like you get all every
I
ESPN.
do love like Hulu's now on Disney Plus, and so
Yeah.
they're doing some stuff with some synergy there. But
And yet they did do Tour de France. You're right. Outlaw Left Network did do Tour de France.
yeah.
It's probably the biggest thing they had at that point before all of this. Like that's probably the biggest thing that they broadcast at the time.
You have to use a VPN to watch the Nets. I can understand, but what
Yeah.
sucks is I still can't even on YouTube TV, which is just such bullshit.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
And
It's
Nets
just
aren't good enough for me to buy MLB Network. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna like just buy a whole separate streaming package just for them. Like
no,
it's
that
not
wouldn't be
there.
no. I agree with you. It wouldn't be worth it. That's the shame of it. It's just like I'm seeing more markets that can't watch their own team on regular TV, and it's like that's just so messed up to me. Like
And
you're
like obviously, if Monumental is able to come up to an agreement with YouTube TV, then Masson should be able to as well. And
I
so
yeah, I mean, I am happy. I mean, I am glad that Spectrum at least got their stuff on their shit together, got on DirecTV. At least that's something, that because sports
yeah.
bars couldn't show Dodgers and Lakers for a while because of that. Or it was just the Dodgers at that point because the Lakers were already on there. But geez, it's such a mess. Like, just stop this crap and just move everything to streaming and let's be done with it. Let's make it all like Netflix so we can just all enjoy it together and
Yeah.
life would be so much easier and it's like that's where we're going anyway. Like what do we do, who are we kidding here? Like like are we even gonna have cable in like 10 years? Like
I don't know.
yeah,
It's pretty wild.
it
It's just,
is.
and I don't think other countries have to deal with this bullshit. I don't know.
Well, other countries don't have like this kind of sports either. Like I'm
Yeah, we
not
have so much fun.
I'm not exactly sure on that though. I think people watch
I definitely most. I feel like most other countries have 3 or 4 sports, but I mean, when I think about the number of sports that I cover on my podcast, like it can some years be of more than 10 different sports.
yeah.
Like it's wild. Like
Yeah.
that's like
I mean, you're including WWE in that, right? Like the
yeah.
WrestleMania. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, but still, like you've got the UFL, which was once XFL. You've got MLS. You've got obviously MLB and the main four sports, but then I cover college, or some years Olympics, some years World Cup. It's just it's just so many different things that
Yeah, for
are
sure.
involved.
Um, yeah. Robbie, I really do appreciate you hanging on all this time. Steamin'
Yeah, it's been
too.
fun.
It's great to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. It's really great to see all the support, and it's really cool that so many people from your community came through tonight. I'm extremely heartwarmed by that. And
Yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, we've such a I love the tight knit community across Twitch. It's just so wild to me that we run into the same people across
I know.
10 different streams throughout the day, and it's so nice to see everybody, and it's fun to get to chat and not have to push a lot of buttons. So I appreciate you for for taking the reins. So
I appreciate you too. I mean, it's all, and I would reciprocate all of that whenever I'm on your channel. Like, it's nice to just sit back and just get my libations and then just chat with you all. Like, it makes it easy for me. So I appreciate it.
speaking of, I do want to have you back in a couple of weeks for my stream anniversary.
Yeah,
Maybe in we'll talk offline, but
dig
I'd
it
love to have you back on for that,
for
and
sure.
especially with the
Um,
playoffs heat.
Shout out to Stuart Haig, of course. It's great to see you again, Stuart. Nice to have you here.
Yeah.
What's coming up on your show? What's coming up on Monday? What's coming up for your stream anniversary or
Yeah,
your
so
affiliate?
Monday it's going to be an interesting one. Hopefully, we'll talk about a Capitals victory and not a sweep. So it could be either or at this point because we have a game tomorrow and a game on Sunday. So we'll recap all three of those Caps games in the first hour. I'm sure we'll have a bunch of Caps guests on there. Second hour, we will talk NBA playoffs. We may talk a little bit about this draft. We'll also talk about, unfortunately, well, it's funny that we didn't talk about this once, Davey. Your Dodgers swept my Nats. Just finished doing that. So that I'm sure we will talk about the Orioles.
You know what? It's interesting because like they needed that. They were having a rough week. But I also have been saying all month, like, it's so early. I don't think anyone can really make a decision. You can really tell how bad or good anybody is. So
Yeah, I mean, well, we won the series in LA last week, and so it just turned around, and you guys won the series this week here.
yeah.
But yeah, well, I'm sure we'll talk about that and the Orioles, and I'm hoping that the defenders get back onto the winning ways. They had a rough go of it last week. They lost by 1 point, game-winning field goal after a 2-hour rain delay, which is always brutal. But they're playing their arch rival, the Roughnecks. Not the Roughnecks. I'm sorry, the Battlehawks.
Hmm.
And the Battlehawks, those fans are rabid. I'm happy because it's kind of like all the people that were Rams, fans, back in the day, they don't have a team anymore. And so they play, in that same stadium. And so it's cool to see, that fan base show up big for them. They're actually playing this game in DC, though. DC is undefeated at home in their history. So every year they've never lost at home. So we'll see if that can stay alive at Audi Field. And what's crazy is the DC United they play back to back days at Audi Field this weekend. So that'll be wild. So we'll definitely be covering all of that, the NBA and the NHL playoffs, including the live games going on that night as well. So that'll be a fun show. And then the following week, I think, is my stream anniversary, if I remember correctly.
Cool.
Yeah, so those are the sixth is the stream anniversary. So yeah, it's I can't believe it's already almost May. That part just kind of blows my mind. But yeah, so we'll do a couple more weeks of podcasting through May, and then I usually take the summer off, but I am thinking about making an exception this summer and coming back and doing some Olympics coverage in the middle of the summer.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, Olympics is great. I think my
yeah,
question was gonna be is like if you I didn't actually ask it, but it was gonna be like if you could fulfill a dream and win a gold medal and do an Olympic sport, like which one would you want to win a gold medal at? That's what I was
which
thinking.
one I personally would want to win a gold
Yeah,
medal
yeah,
at?
yeah.
I have to decide whether it's going to be a team sport or an individual sport first. Hmm, that's a good question. Um, hmm. Yeah, wow. I do love swimming. I do also like skiing. So I just think that it'd probably be one of those two sports because they're sports I like to do. Um, maybe like they have those like is it called ski cross or whatever where they do like the jumps with the skiing with the cool like 360. Do they still do that? I know they do it in the X
Oh,
Games.
oh,
I
the
think they do it for
pentathlon? Like, is it the or the biathlon? Like, is that the
no,
one?
no, no, like the ones where you're doing like tricks on skis.
Oh, I don't
I think
know. I don't know.
yeah, I
Good
think it's like
question.
one of the old Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had it for 1 year. I don't know if they still have that one. So that would
Yeah.
be kind of a cool one. And if not that, maybe a swimming gold medal and a freestyle.
What length though?
Ooh, I usually like short distances. So yeah, maybe like a 200 free. Yeah.
Well, 200 would be kind of long. I mean, but 200 is good. I mean, 200 is a really good event. 200 is a really good event. There's a lot of juice in that one. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
it.
I guess I don't know. I feel like anything less is like too short, but like I wouldn't
Oh
want to
yeah,
do like
that's
the
fair.
distance. My wife would do distance swimming. She's such an incredible distance
Oh
swimmer.
really?
Like,
Oh cool.
yeah, it's cool because when I was doing my footage of whale sharks in Mexico, I couldn't keep up with the whale sharks, like swimming with them to get good footage. So I gave
Yeah,
her the camera and she like stayed stride for stride with like these whale sharks. It was awesome. So
yeah.
yeah.
Um, let's do so. For me, it would be swimming too. I swim, so like it makes sense. Oh man, but picking the distance is hard. I would probably do freestyle. I mean, it's either gonna be 100 free is a very big event. Like that's like the one that's like the bragging rights event. Like that's a big one. But two is a nice one. Two is good. I mean, a 200 individual medley be really fun to do. But like
Yeah.
it,
That's cool. I do like when I do swimming laps, I do like to swap it up and the problem is I can't do a
it's
butterfly.
hard.
It's really hard.
It's hard.
Um I
It's
can
hard.
do back breaststroke and
Yeah.
free. My favorite thing to do actually, they don't really have a competition for it, but I kind of wish that they would, is swimming underwater. Do it
Oh,
without single breath hold. Well, my favorite thing to do is one breath hold, go across the entire length of
yeah.
the pool underwater. So if they did like a race for that, that would be neat.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it would be dangerous, but I think you do
yeah,
really
I
well in
could
it.
see that would be problematic,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah. So just put me down for like 100 free, but I mean, it's weird because when I was swimming masters, like I did like doing butterfly, even though it was hard, but I enjoyed it. Like it's like an event I love to do, despite the fact that it was really tough on the body. Um, it's it's just fun to do, you know. It's fun to do. Breaststroke is my least favorite stroke to do because I'm so terrible at it. Um, but
I'm actually pretty good at the breaststroke. It's just I'm so bad at the butterflies. I just don't have that good shoulder action.
it's
I mean,
yeah.
I have metal rods in my back, so that does not help with my range
Oh
of
wow.
mobility.
Okay, okay, yeah,
Um,
I
so I
understand.
can do this motion. It's just
Okay,
that's locked in, so it's not very efficient. So
gotcha,
look,
gotcha.
my both my kids are doing swimming lessons now, so it makes me happy that my daughter, who's only 2.5, is already infant self rescue certified.
Hmm.
So that's always a
Oh, look at
bonus.
that team. Seems a single breath hold Navy SEALs training. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. Pretty cool.
I love trying to do surface diving and going underwater and breath holds and snorkeling and stuff like that. I think that stuff is awesome. It's not necessarily the same.
That takes some good swimming skills and breath control.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Robbie, I'm sorry to say the Lakers are going to lose. They were only
Yeah, it's
33.
not good.
Ugh.
They made it to the end of the game though.
Yeah.
That's something.
Again, I guess, but oh, what are you gonna? You know, it is what it is. It is. It's
Yeah, Denver's just a better team. It's just like
clearly, yeah.
feel bad that the Lakers just went on that great run through the second half of the season where you thought that they were putting something together here, and then they're likely to get swept. I think that the Lakers
It,
will come back and win the next game if I were a betting person,
yeah.
and then they win it in Denver. I still don't think they're gonna get swept. I know that seems counterintuitive based on the score right now, but I still think that they could come back and win
Yeah.
one.
Wait, one breath 1,500? I don't think you can do that. I don't think that's. You can
Yeah,
do one
I
breath
mean,
for like
I don't know.
maybe
There's
50.
some
But
really incredible surface divers that can go down
wow.
pretty deep.
Oh, use the
Um,
1500 down. Like, it's not 1500 necessarily across, because like maybe you could do it
yeah, but
going down, but
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
eh, eh,
It would be tough.
yeah,
I struggle with doing one lap.
yeah,
But I'm pretty happy that I can do that even without like taking two
yeah,
months off.
yeah.
So,
Stuart says, "I think you would die." I think you would die too. Like that seems crazy. Like 50 would be crazy
well,
as
actually,
it
I mean,
is.
1500 down would still be too far because I don't think it would be too much pressure. You couldn't
Right.
get below,
Very true.
yeah, at
It would
that.
crush
So
you after a while. Yeah. Like
it'd be hard because what people don't realize is every 33 feet, it's half an atmosphere of
mhm.
pressure in your lungs.
Yeah.
So you would lose air too quickly, I think.
Quite
So,
right. Stuart says I would want to win the breaststroke so my kids could laugh every time it comes up.
mm.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Uh, all right. Well, thanks again, Robbie. I'm sorry I kept you up an extra 20 minutes, but I do
Yeah,
appreciate
you're
you.
fine.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, thanks again.
Are we,
Hope
are we rating?
it's about that time to raid. Yes. Let me see who's on. Just looking
Should I rate in the KR so I can go mod now?
at it. I'm looking through this. What I was kind of thinking is like, can we find another collab stream on? Because like,
Ooh,
and yeah, thank
I
you,
don't-
Tina. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you again. I mean, I'm doing this all over again, but thank you, Steeman, Stuart, and Tina, and everybody else who was in the chat tonight. We had really good support, so thank you so much for hanging out. Show some mod love in the chat to Tina and for all the mods here. Really great to see you. We had King earlier in the chat too, and JV popped in for a little bit, so nice to see you. Who's collabing tonight? Let's see. Do we have anybody collabing? Let's see.
I don't have anybody on my list collabing, but
I have one.
oh,
We have Julie in the room with Carmela and Erica Nagashima. And they are there to celebrate Julie's Dreamer album release party. That's on the board. Is there anybody doing an interview, though? Let's go see. Thursday interview spots. Yeah. Those are good days. Yeah. I hope Viber's doing all right. Remember, Viber has been had her show. Has had her show. I mean, who's to say? It could always come back, but
are they taking a break?
Yeah, they're on a break. It was a break. It was
Yeah, I've wondered where they've been. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Holy crap, 300 down even seems wild to me. Yeah, you're right, Stuart. That seems crazy. Let me see. We
Yeah,
were on a
300
break.
I mean, 300 meters is still like 900 feet. So
Yeah.
it's still crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, deepest I've ever gone is 120 feet,
Oh yeah.
but not on a free dive. Like, I think the deepest I've ever free dove is 20 or 30 feet.
Cool. Yeah, all right. I've given this some thought. I was kind of thinking, like, can we get someone? No one's really doing an interview. No one's really. I can't think of anyone specific that I would really go to. So let's go. What the hell? Let's go. Let's go hang out with your friend. Let's go hang out with our friend, Kr. I haven't seen him in a bit anyway. So like, it's been. I know he was like sick for a while. Is he doing all right now? Like, is he okay? Like, is he feeling better?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good to know. That sounds good. That sounds solid. So, folks, thank you again. I do want to make a note before we go. Saturday, I would like to invite everybody to go check out Dino Stream Fest. I think I have a command for it.
Yeah, Ryan's Tiny Fat Guy is going to be on it, which is cool.
Absolutely. So, is it
I guess I
Dino?
don't-
Is it Stream Fest? Oh, there. Oh, phenomenal. There it is. There. Yeah. So there's the link. It would be great to see you all there. We have a lot of cool people that are going to be part of that. Yeah, E-Flat's going to be part of that at noon Eastern time. And then we're going to also be hearing from Durfo. We're going to also be hearing from Bad B7, who we've also had on the show. B's very hilarious. Like, what a fun guy. But
I love that. That's a fun stream.
oh yeah, it was it was a classic show. I'm with that. Remember, everyone cheer for Brad Marchand. It totally misunderstood. I could never Stuart. I could never. I mean, all
The
due
quotes
respect.
from the Toronto coach after that game are hilarious.
I I
The biggest S ever, and he's so good at it.
he's a great
How
player though. I'm not gonna lie. He is a great player though, for what it's worth. But
he gets away with such crazy shit.
he
I mean,
does.
how many people lick people and are still in the league? I don't know. Like,
I mean, I swear I like Boston, yet struggle with Martian. Yeah, exactly. Like I think anybody would.
yeah.
O'Connor John 420. Well played. Nice to thank you for the follow. Well, let's go ahead and raid over to KR. It seems like I guess that's a sign. We should go. That's a sign for us to raid KR, right? Like
That makes sense.
I hope that KR streamed during 420. I really do. Or maybe he had a gig.
He streamed the next day and called it a 420 stream, which is such a stoner thing to do. But I don't think he streamed on 420 if I remember correctly.
Well, I thank you, Connor John. I appreciate that. Connor says I love the name. Well, we're glad to. I'm glad. I mean,
I enjoyed 420. I got to go see the Godzilla versus King Kong movie, which I thought was great.
Ooh, nice. I gotta check that out.
I hadn't even seen the previous 4 movies, so I was kind of lost at the beginning.
All
but
right.
like, I didn't realize it was like the 5th movie in a series. But
I didn't either.
yeah, so like,
I
I
don't
was like, okay, and I can still get behind giant, creatures, messing each other up. So
Word up.
I was fine with it.
Cool. All right, let's go raid KR. It's good to see. It'll be good to catch up with our friend KR again. Give our friend a follow if you're not already. Let's get the raid calls in the chat, everybody. Thank y'all for being here. I'll see you. Yeah, that's complex. Like I probably next week. I don't know when though. I'm thinking. I think it was gonna be Monday. I don't remember at this point. Yeah, it's probably gonna be Monday. Yeah, so Monday. Catch us on Monday. Monday evening. Possible pop up on Sunday, but it just depends. But yeah, Dino Stream Fest. Please follow all the people on Dino Stream Fest. It's going to be a great event on Saturday, all day. So it'll be really fun. So for now, I say goodnight. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Robbie. It's a good time. And go follow Robbie G, by the way, if you're not already. And all the best. We'll see you, KR. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye. See you next time. Bye bye bye. See you around.